victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
What's up, everybody? Everything seems to be working. Don't have any little flashy lights on the camera. Microphone is working. I can hear myself. Back in the chair after an awesome weekend. Robin and I were down at the Fort Lauderdale Air Show. I'm going to share some of that with you guys tonight. But there's too much news to talk about today. Now, before I start into what was going to be the actual show, let me show you something that dropped at 3 o'clock in the morning. At 3 o'clock in the morning, Adam Schefter, in case you guys don't know, big ESPN NFL guy, got the scoop on this somehow at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he said Washington, D.C. will hold the 2027 NFL Draft on the National Mall where the Washington Monument stands. Somehow he got the scoop. However, you know how President Trump is. He's not going to let anybody dampen his star in terms of him telling the American people what's about to happen. So many of you may not be big football fans. I'm a huge football fan. Every year, the draft has become its own event. This year, I believe they had 150,000, 200,000 people at the draft this year. Forget where they're going to do it next year, but in 2027, they're going to hold it on the National Mall. It's going to easily bring in 250, 300,000 people. So President Trump just did a press conference. It may actually still be going on. Let me go ahead and begin rolling it. We're gonna watch this, and as soon as it comes on, we're gonna take a listen to it. It's I've got it delayed here, but here we go. Right here. Here we go.
Washington Commanders owner Josh Harris and Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, Secretary Scott Turner, Secretary Doug Burgum, and I see Howard Lutnick is here too, Commerce, and some others that if I could see past the press, I'd name you, but I can't. I'm pleased to reveal that the 2027 NFL Draft, that's a big thing, will be held right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. on the National Mall, and you get a little glimpse of it. I was just saying to Roger, I don't think there's ever been anything like that. That's a good idea. In fact, maybe we could use it for other things also. I have an idea. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be something that nobody else will ever be able to duplicate that, I don't suspect. It's very exciting. Every year, hundreds of young football players have their dreams come true as the NFL teams across the land, and you just saw that last week, select the best young players in America to join their ranks. Hundreds of thousands of football fans will travel all across our country to cheer them on in person. We expect, would you say, more than 100,000 people, I think. What is the capacity would you think it can hold? Because the mall can actually hold up to 1 million people if you go all the way back. What do you think?
Over 3 days, we'll be over 1 million.
Oh, yeah, you're going to have local businesses and bringing jobs and tourism to the heart of our capital. The draft is a celebration of one of our country's most cherished cultural institutions and the annual highlights for football fans everywhere. Everyone in the world is going to be watching. We look forward to welcoming people from across the nation, from all over the world. Last month, the Washington Commanders and the D.C. government also announced a major deal to build a brand new 65,000-seat football arena at the site of the RFK Stadium in eastern Capitol Hill, and I don't think there is a better site anywhere in the world than that site.
Incredibly exciting.
You know, he's a friend of mine. He's a very successful guy. There's a reason for it. It's amazing. It sat there for years, and people were talking about stadiums in 25 different sites. I said, they're not talking about the best site. That's the best site there is. Bringing professional football back into the district from Maryland. And not only are these announcements great for the NFL, but they also advance the mission of making Washington, D.C. safe and clean and beautiful. And we're working very closely with the mayor, as you know, and we've made a lot of improvements in the last few months, and it's getting to look really strong. Crime is way down, and there's a good relationship we have going with Muriel. So I want to thank you very much. And would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. President.
The mayor, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm sorry. Well, greetings. I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of the best city in the world and also the sports capital. And we are delighted to be here with the Washington Commanders, the NFL, and the president to talk about this very exciting announcement for Washington, D.C. We believe in investing in sports because they have helped us transform neighborhoods, and the NFL bringing this event to the nation's capital will help us fill hotel rooms, our restaurants, and Americans from all 50 states will come to their nation's capital and enjoy our beautiful city and museum. So we're just delighted to be here, and we want to thank everybody for all the hard work to get here.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. President, thank you. We're honored to be here in the Oval Office, and to have you announce the 2027 NFL Draft is a special treat. So thank you for your support. Also, thank you for your support in the Commanders' new stadium. We agree it's going to be a great site. We think it's going to be great for our fans here, and it's great to come back home. And so we're very excited about that. Josh is leading the way on our behalf, and the mayor, so we thank both of them for that. We also want to thank you because in the first term, you helped us get a Canadian trade deal, which we want to make sure we note again and make sure you know.
Canada does not like me too much. They gave a great American company a lot of money that you deserved, frankly. So.
Well, thank you. The draft has really become one of the great entertainment and sports events. Just a week ago in Green Bay, we had over 600,000 people attend. The year before in Detroit, we had close to 800,000. As the president remarked, we believe we'll be well over 1 million when we come here to D.C. in 2027. So we not only believe it's a great site, we believe it's consistent with what the president said, which is investing in our communities, investing specifically here in the nation's capital, one that I grew up here in Washington, D.C., and is particularly important. we think we can have a tremendous impact on this community. And it will not just be an event, it will be something that will show the world how far the nation's capital has come and where it's going. So we're very excited about that. And we thank everybody here. We thank you for your support. We know it's going to be a great event. Mr. President, we thank you again.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good luck with it.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you very much. We wouldn't be here without you. Thank you for your leadership in terms of the stadium, and now, what a great day for Washington. I mean, to host the NFL draft in 2027 on the Mall, I believe we'll get over 1 million people, and it's going to be an amazing day, and it'll showcase what Washington's all about, but it'll also showcase what our country's all about. Washington is the gateway city to our country, and it'll be an amazing day, and we can't wait to get started. And I couldn't have done it without my partners, Roger Goodell, thank you, and Mayor Muriel Bowser. And we're ready to get to work, and I can't imagine RFK coming back. I grew up here. DC used to stop and on Sundays, and everyone would be inside watching football, or everyone would be glued at the stadium. And so we want to bring that back. And football really is as essential to the culture of America. We all love it. We all watch it. And it brings people together. And so what a great way to celebrate the United States of America, the NFL, and the Washington Commanders. And President Trump, we leave on your desk a Trump jersey. You are the ultimate commander, so it is a Commander's jersey. There's no bird on it, but we appreciate you, and thank you for everything you've done, and look forward to the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I have to say that Josh had a very good draft a short while ago. You have a very good quarterback.
You do.
A great quarterback, I think.
Very
Great.
excited about Jaden.
Any questions, please, about the stadium or any of it? Yeah, please. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. About the draft, and I would like to upcome an event that it was already mentioned here, the World Cup. Although United States, the passion here is football. For the World Cup next year, how do you envision, Mr. President, this event here in the United
Well, it'll be
States?
fantastic. I worked very hard to get the World Cup. It was, in fact, I think I have the trophy right here, right behind you. Don't have a picture taken with Roger and that trophy, by the way. But no, they brought it in. Johnny, who's a good guy, but he brought that in. That's the actual trophy. It's interesting that you asked that. And it's made at Tiffany's, and they're leaving it here until just before the actual World Cup. Then it goes to the champion. But that's very exciting. We have the Olympics. So we have both of them. I worked very hard in getting both, and I said, I'm not going to be able to be there as president. And then a strange thing happened, and it turned out I became president not for the term that I was supposed to be. I became president while we have the Olympics and the World Cup, and we have something that maybe surpasses everything, the 250th anniversary of our country. So that's going to be great. That's going to be a very big event, a year-long event. So thank you for the question. Very nice question. Yeah, please.
So you've often said you want U.S. to be bigger, better, and stronger. Currently, Russia is the biggest country in the world by landmass, followed by Canada and then China. So when you say that you want to annex Canada, is it so that it would be the biggest country in the world?
No, I never even thought of it that way, although I am a real estate developer at heart. I've never heard that question. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Mr. President, will you have to hire more security and police in order to accommodate the 1 million people coming in for the NFL draft?
I think that there'll be something, and I know Roger will work it out, and Josh and all of us will work it out. It's such an honor to have that. I think it'll be great for everybody, great for our country. It'll be something very special. There's no scene like it. There's no site like it. My whole life was based on sites, locations, and as soon as I looked at that rendering, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to really be beautiful. Interestingly, I didn't know exactly where it's set relative to the Capitol, but the stadium, if you go back, is right behind the Capitol, miles behind, but nevertheless visually right behind it. So it's going to be an architect's dream, whoever the architect is chosen. and the owner. It's going to be something special. I think it's going to be great for the area. Going to be, it will be top of the line. I know these people very well, and they only know about top of the line. And I would say that more will be put into the stadium than would be put into a identical stadium of a similar size. I think they're going to do a special, because of the importance of the location. I have no doubt they'll do a special job. Yeah, please.
Can you explain a little bit about how you would implement tariffs on the film industry, kind of how that would work?
Well, that's a different story, but our film industry has been decimated by other countries taking them out, and also by incompetence, like in Los Angeles. The governor is a grossly incompetent man. He's just allowed it to be taken away from, Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't do very much of that business. They have the nice sign and everything's good, but they don't do very much. A lot of it's been taken to other countries, and a big proportion. And I'm actually going to meet with some because, there's some advantages, I guess, and I'm not looking to hurt the industry. I want to help the industry. But they're given financing by other countries. They're given a lot of things, and the industry was decimated. If you look at how little is done in this country now, you think we were the ones. We used to do 100, not long ago, 100%. Now we do almost like very little. It's shocking. Are you in that business too? Because he's in so many businesses. You could explain it, but it's not a good situation. So we're going to meet with the industry. I want to make sure they're happy with it because we're all about jobs. That's all what it's very important. It's a big industry, but it's an industry now that's, it's really left, it's abandoned the USA where it started. And we'll get it back. Yeah, please.
Thanks, Mr. President. First, I just want to thank you for letting us in here. I'm with Zero Hedge in the last administration. Rated us on social media, so we're really grateful to be in the White House. And this is not exactly sports related, but I've been dying to ask you this question for a long time, which is that 2.5 years ago, the Nord Stream pipeline blew up. Yeah. And despite what people like John Brennan and all the hawks said, you were one person who said Russia probably did not blow up its own pipeline.
Yeah, if you can believe, they said Russia blew it up, yeah.
And so I'm wondering now that you're president, if you would consider launching a formal investigation into what happened there and who actually did blow it up.
Well, probably if I asked certain people, I'd be able to tell you without having to waste a lot of money on an investigation. But I think a lot of people know who blew it up. But I was the one that blew it up originally because I wouldn't let it be built. And then when Biden got in, he allowed it to be built. And it's very interesting. But I think Russia, with the price of oil right now, oil's gone down, I think we're in a good position to settle. They want to settle. Ukraine wants to settle. If I weren't president, nobody would be settling. They're losing 5,000 people a day. Think of it. Here we talk about football. They're losing 5,000 people on average a week, mostly Russian soldiers and Ukrainian soldiers, 5,000 a week, not including people that are, killed as missiles go into areas that they shouldn't be. It's a very terrible thing, and I think we've come a long way, and it could be something will happen, but hopefully it will. As you know, President Putin just announced a 3-day ceasefire, which doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot if you knew where we started from, because they were not. We had a president that for 3 years didn't speak to Putin, and it all shouldn't have happened. This is a war that should have never happened, and you're going to be very disappointed when you find out the real number of people that were killed. It's far greater, many times greater, I believe, but far greater than the numbers that you're putting out. It's a very, very deadly, horrible war. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some Catholics were not so happy about the image of you looking like the Pope.
Oh, I see. You mean they can't take a joke? You don't mean the Catholics, you mean the fake news media. Not the Catholics loved it. I had nothing to do with it. Somebody made up a picture of me dressed like the Pope, and they put it out on the internet. That's not me that did it. I have no idea where it came from. Maybe it was AI, but I know nothing about it. I just saw it last evening. Actually, my wife thought it was cute. She said, "Isn't that nice?" Actually, I would not be able to be married, though. That would be a lot. I'd have to the best of my knowledge, popes aren't big on getting married, are they? Not that we know of. No. I think it's the fake news media that they're fakers.
My question, though, sir, was about the fact that it was put out on the White House account, even though it was AI generated, it was a joke, it was a meme, does it at all diminish the substance of the official White House account to have it go out on
Give me a break. It was just, somebody did it in fun. It's fine. Have to have a little fun, don't you? Yeah, please, go ahead.
Tell me about the program that's just been introduced to give undocumented immigrants living in the United States
About me?
$1,000 to self-deport. Can you just tell us a little bit?
Oh, the new program, yeah. We have millions of people that have come into this country illegally through an administration that didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have a clue. And now we find out officially they didn't because the president was incompetent, but I could have told you that before. And they've allowed millions and millions of people to pour in. Murderers, drug dealers, the biggest drug dealers in the world, actually, terrorists come in, emptied prisons from many countries, not just South America, all over the world. They emptied their prisons into our beautiful USA. And to get that many people, 21 million people we think the real number is, but let's say 3 million of them are serious criminals. 11,888 murderers, many of whom murdered more than one person. It's hard to believe we have to even talk about this when we're talking about something so beautiful, but it's something we have to talk about having to do with the country because it's very important. So they came in by the millions illegally into our country. They just flowed in through an open border policy that was insane. And what we've done is we've offered, you know the numbers, but because we're taking them out by the thousands, we're being obstructed. It's very unfair what's happening because the court system it's very unfair. We have to get them out fast. These are bad people. These are people that are killing, and they've already killed many people in this country. Illegal immigrants that came in illegally through an open border policy, which is insane. We talk about common sense. That's not common sense. And they came in from the Congo, all over Africa, all over Asia, all over South America, parts of Europe. They flowed in and just walked right into our country. We had no idea who they were. 21 million at least. That's probably a low number. You know, you hear lower numbers than that. It's not. That's a low number. But many are really serious criminals and terrorists and people from jails. They emptied out jails. You know, Venezuela, their crime is down 72% because they took all the criminals off the streets and the gangs and they dumped them into our country. So we're getting them out. It's a very difficult thing with the courts because the courts have all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they said, maybe you have to have trials. We're going to have 5 million trials. Doesn't work. You wouldn't have a country left. But hopefully the Supreme Court will save it. But what they've done is a very, very serious thing. You know, past presidents took out hundreds of thousands of people when needed. You look at Eisenhower, you look at many of them, and they took people out and they didn't go through any of this. But what we thought we'd do is a self-deport, where we're going to pay each one a certain amount of money, and we're going to get them a beautiful flight back to where they came from, and they have a period of time. And if they make it, we're going to work with them so that maybe someday, with a little work, they can come back in if they're good people, if they're the kind of people that we want in our company, industrious people that could love our country. And if they're not, they won't. But it will give them a path to becoming, to coming back into the country. If they miss that limit, they're going to be taken out of our country, and they will never get a path to come back in, and it'll be a much tougher process. And it's called self-deportation. And by doing that, you're talking about so many millions of people. By doing that, we've taken out thousands of terrorists, drug lords. What we've done is amazing, and as you heard, Tom Homan and Christy Noem have done an incredible job. They really have done an incredible job, but it's a hard job. So we're going to have a self-deportation where they deport themselves out of our country, and we'll work with them, and we're going to try, and if we think they're good, if they have, the people we want in our country, they're going to come back into our country. We'll give them a little easier route. But if they don't work, and if we take them out after the date, then they're never coming back, and that's the least of the problems that they're going to have. Yeah, please.
What's your expectation for your meeting with the Canadian Prime Minister tomorrow?
I don't know. He's coming to see me. I'm not sure what he wants to see me about, but I guess he wants to make a deal. Everybody does. They all want to make a deal because we have something that they all want. We have something that they all want. China wants to make a deal very badly. You see what's happening to China. China is being decimated, and I don't want that to happen. But they have to make a fair deal. We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars a year. We were losing think of it, on our trade policies with Biden. We're losing $5 billion a day. I think Josh, as a great businessman, would not let that happen too long, right? How many groups could lose $5 billion a day? If you lose $5 billion one day, that's the end of that company, right? You're fired. He says, you're fired. Get out of here. So we essentially did that, and we have it down to a very low number. We're doing really well, really well. Yeah.
How did you decide to reopen Alcatraz? Can you walk us through that decision?
Did I say what?
To reopen Alcatraz, how will you use it? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker. We started with the movie making, and we'll end. I mean, it represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. But it's right now a museum, believe it or not. A lot of people go there. It housed the most violent criminals in the world, and nobody ever escaped. One person almost got there, but they, as you know the story, they found his clothing rather badly ripped up, and it was a lot of shark bites, a lot of problems. Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz, and just represented something strong having to do with law and order. We need law and order in this country, and so we're going to look at it. Some of the people up here are going to be working very hard on that, and we had a little conversation. I think it's going to be very interesting. We'll see if we can bring it back in large form, add a lot. But I think it represents something. Right now it's a big hulk that's sitting there rusting and rotting. You look at it, it's sort of, you saw that picture that was put out, it's sort of amazing. But it sort of represents something that's both horrible and beautiful and strong and miserable, weak. It's got a lot of qualities that are interesting, and I think they make a point. Okay, are you guys okay? I want to just say that it's such an honor to be up here with my friends, because this is a group of people that have done an amazing job, and all we can do, Muriel and I, is give them the greatest site there is, I think, that I've ever seen for something like this. And I did very well in the real estate business. I think this is the greatest site there is anywhere in the world for exactly what you guys are doing. And we'll work with you. We've got a lot of work to do to get it going, but we'll work with you and we'll try and make the dream come true. And I want to thank you all very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I just can't take these people in the media. It's just too much. You know, one of the problems I have with the media is that you've got people in the Oval Office that are talking about their project, whatever that project may be, and these are important people. You may not like Roger Goodell. You may not even know who the owner of the Washington Commanders, who that guy was. You got Scott Turner, Secretary of HUD, and then, of course, Muriel Bowser. But anyway, these are important people. So we're here to talk about the NFL and how President Trump is going to help the NFL and rebuild Washington and get it cleaned up. And you got all these people, and what do you ask questions about? A meme. You actually embarrass yourself like that in front of all these people. You asked about a meme, a Pope meme. My goodness, what is wrong with these people? I just can't. I remember when some of you guys might be old enough to remember, and what was her name? The Irish singer with the butt, Sinead O'Connor. And she got done singing on Saturday Night Live, and she had a picture of the Pope, and she ripped it up. Didn't see anybody from the media freaking out about that, and she ripped up the picture of the Pope. All he did was, or whoever was on his team, posted a meme. You know, laughter. Like somebody said in the chat. Does anybody remember laughter? You understand that's communism to its core. Humor is not allowed. Having fun is not allowed. As I showed many of you guys who saw me broadcasting live from the balcony of our room overlooking the beach, and I've told people many, many times, I don't know if things are different down here than where you are, but damn, it was mobbed everywhere. And I had posted something on X a couple days ago, and some guy goes, we're supposed to take your word for it? I'm like, okay, I'm going to show you. And it was just absolutely mobbed up and down. The media doesn't understand. They're in a really, really bad way. They're not making any sense to the American people. People are starting to tune out, even to the point where I do my shows. I used to like kind of make fun of them. Now you can't. It's like looking at someone with a disease. I can't laugh at you because I feel bad for you. It's crazy. So let me tell you a couple other pieces of breaking news, or somewhat breaking news, before we get into the show. And first of all, I want to also tell you, those of you who joined us on Rumble Saturday night after we did the switchover redirect, and we had a whole bunch of fun. Some people wasn't your cup of tea. I understand it, but I hope you guys join me tonight. We're going to jump over. We're going to have some fun tonight. I'm going to make sure every time we do the Rumble jump over, and that's the term I'm calling it, we're going to have fun. So you can count on tonight's show being as much or more fun than Saturday night. And by the way, that video on Rumble has over, I think, 110,000 views on a Saturday night. It crushed. It did so well. And so many emails and texts, and we had so many, and that was with all the problems we had. My camera wasn't working right, my microphone wasn't working right, and we lived through it, and we hadn't known the production in terms of how things work with Rumble, but we got through it. And so we're going to do it again tonight. You're all invited to the 7 o'clock show, which will begin here, and then we'll do the Rumble jump over once again, because I got some things to talk about tonight on Rumble that I don't dare say here, just to let you know. You can't talk about certain things in certain company. But tonight I'm going to open up, and we're going to have some fun, and we're going to roast some of this stuff. So before I get to that, let's go ahead and look at a couple things that happened today with President Trump. Number one, today, welcome to Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo is how today will be known to college students and grifting college students who decided they weren't going to pay their student loans. Now it's Cinco de Mayo because as of today, the Trump administration is going to begin collecting on unpaid student loans. Cry harder. We don't care. You signed your name, you got the money, pay it back. That's how it goes. So it'll be Cinco de Mayo for those college kids. Meanwhile, Cinco de Mayo is also going to continue with another plan President Trump is going to do, and it's this plan. President Trump's 2026 budget proposal would effectively dismantle the Section 8 program. Cinco de Mayo, pay your own damn rent. Now, those of you, and full disclosure, you guys know I've been in real estate for quite some time, and I've even shown you how you make money with Section 8 as a landlord. It's been, as the old Saturday Night Live jokers was, it's been very, very good to me having Section 8 tenants and have the government pay. Now, he's going to end it. Oh, I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. They are going to fight like they've never fought before. What do you mean you're not going to pay Section 8? No. And just so you know, before the liberals start just screaming at you, he's looking at taking that Section 8 money and again putting it in the hands of the states. So if a state determines that they still want to do Section 8, that's fine. We're just going to let you handle it, not the federal government. Let the states have it. So they may still continue. Certain states may continue to do it. So there'll be different rules, probably, because each state will have their own program on how they'll help with rent subsidy. but the big daddy grandfather of the federal government, if he can get this through, no more Section 8. So some of you maybe think, well, Barry, isn't that a problem? Remember what I told you. It's an old tenet. You make your money when there's blood running through the streets. And so what's going to happen if this happens, not today, not tomorrow, but 6 months, a year down the road, you're going to see a lot of landlords jumping off cliffs. Because when that Section 8 money dries up, they're going to have to sell. And many of these people who have had properties for years and years and years, and some of them are dilapidated, they've treated Section 8 tenants like crap, they're going to have to dump these properties. There is going to be literally blood running in the streets. So be ready for that. So and one of the things I've told you guys in business, if you set yourself up correctly, especially in real estate, you become economically agnostic. Meaning, I can buy houses and sell houses in the best of markets. I can buy houses and sell houses in the worst of markets. Once you understand what you need to do and how you need to move each deal on its own face, you can make money. I don't care what the market looks like. People say there's a bad real estate market. There's no such thing. If you know how to buy and sell, there's no such thing in terms of being a bad market in real estate. It's just a commodity. And you just have to know the difference in terms of your criteria when there's a buyer's market versus a seller's market. So either way, I just wanted to preface that because I know a lot of you guys know we're into real estate. I don't care. You're basically putting in AstroTurf and taking out the grass. The field still stays the same. Still 100 yards a football field with two end zones. Nothing changed. You just took the grass off and you put AstroTurf. So anyone who understands that analogy understands you still play the game. You don't stop playing because, oh my goodness, they're taking grass off the field. No, man, take the grass off. I don't care. You can't stop. You can't stop people who know what they're doing. All right, let's continue. We got Cinco de Mayo, and now we're also going to be doing Cinco de Porto. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot this story because this is a big story too. Let's go here. Cinco Tarifo, we'll call this one. India offers the United States a 0-for-0 tariff deal on auto parts and steel. Now that's huge. That means we'll show you ours, you show us yours. If they're going to pull theirs down, they're saying like, we're going to pull our pants down, you need to pull yours down, and we'll both be here the same. We're going to compete and see who's going to win. Fine. That's all we need to see happen. You're not going to charge us 200%, and we can't charge you anything. That's going to be huge. Absolutely huge. So I'm not sure when the Prime Minister or President of India will be coming in, but when he does come in, expect you're going to see people's heads explode when that first deal hits on. Let's see here. There's something new here. I haven't read this, but I'll read it with you. SV just sent this to me. This is from General Michael Flynn. For over 4 decades, I've dedicated my life to serving this great nation from the battlefields of Afghanistan and Iraq to the halls of Washington, whether in uniform, in government, or as a private citizen. My commitment to America and its people have never wavered. I've faced challenges, taken hits, and become stronger, always driven by a deep love for this country and its values. This love for our nation, for its people, and for its values is what fuels my commitment. If called upon, okay, you guys know it's coming. If called upon, I'll protect our nation's security and ensure our enemies. You know we mean business, but no matter where I stand, inside or outside government, I'll keep fighting for the Americans we all cherish. That's my promise, and I'm not done yet. So, you guys know that Mike Waltz has been shifted, I guess that's a word we can use, shifted off to the United Nations for however long that's still in business. And there's a big gaping hole in the National Security Advisor. And as of right now, President Trump has Marco Rubio looking after that piece of the puzzle as well. And many people have said, bring in General Flynn. You got to bring in General Flynn. And I'm going to have to cut my interview because I asked him that. I said, if they make you the offer, are you willing to go back in? And at that time, he's like, I think I can do more good on the outside than on the inside. Well, he has now said, if you make the call, I'm there. Boy, this is a liberal head exploding kind of day. Can you even fathom what would happen if he nominates Michael Flynn? First of all, unfortunately, I don't know if they can get confirmed. I don't know if he has to be confirmed. Maybe this is where you pull in the recess confirmation. I mean, we can't get the D.C. U.S. Attorney confirmed because Susan Collins and Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn and all the usual suspects are holding that up. And if you haven't seen what that's about, that's a scary proposition. If the Republicans don't get Martin confirmed as a U.S. Attorney by May 20th, and actually it's sooner because you got to go through a bunch of different processes. If they don't get him confirmed, Judge Bo Asperger gets to install somebody. I don't even know how that rule happened. I don't understand it. But if he gets to install somebody, you can bet it's going to be somebody extremely anti-Trump. Why is this so critical for the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C.? Because anything Pam Bondi or Kash Patel are doing to root out some of these politicians and some of the stuff that's been going on, it would fall in under the auspices, as of right now, of the U.S. U.S. Attorney in the District of Columbia. So, it is vital, and they all know it, it's vital to get this guy Ed Martin confirmed, but they're not trying to confirm him. They're trying to back off and play games. And once again, not knowing how to win, or maybe they're in on it, there are about 5 or 6 senators from the right who are causing all these problems. You have to wonder why. Susan Collins, Mitch McConnell, John Cornyn. I'm trying to think who else is on that list. There's two or three other ones that are not going to vote for him. They don't want him confirmed. You know what to do. You absolutely know what to do. So that we're caught up as of right now, but we got some big things happening. That being said, finally, let's get into today's show of Cinco de Porto.
Today is May 5th, and that means Cinco de Mayo, Wolf, a holiday that celebrates Mexico's victory over France. But some, in the Battle of Puebla, I should say, but some communities have canceled or scaled back cultural events because of President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration and the fear among many Latinos that they could be arrested.
I think people are finally getting the message, if you leave on your own, you can take advantage of legal programs, come back. But we have to go through the process of formally deporting you. There are mandatory bars against you for up to 20 years, sometimes forever. So, if you want to take advantage, come back as a worker, a tourist visa, a visitor's visa, a student visa, or have a U.S. citizen child if you have one, petition for you in the future. Leave yourself open to the opportunity of legal entry. Do things the right way. There's millions of people standing in line right now doing things the right way. Taking the test, doing the background investigations, paying their fees. They're sitting in the back seat. While millions of people are allowed into this country under the Biden administration that simply don't qualify for asylum. Most of them will lose that asylum claim. So while they're clogging up the whole system, in addition to those who want to come in legally, while the millions of fraudulent asylum claims under the Biden administration, there are people in this world who really are escaping fear and persecution from the homeland. But they're sitting in the back seat, too, because millions of people cheated the system coming across the border and released in the United States that caused a significant backlog in immigration court. And that wasn't by accident, it's by design. Let's just overwhelm the system. So it takes 5, 7, 9 years to go through the whole process if they take advantage of the appeals process. They know exactly what they're doing. That's why they weren't in ICE detention. Because in ICE detention, they get a hearing within 35 days. But if we release millions in the country, overwhelm the system so they don't get a hearing in 5, 7, 9 years, then maybe there's a Democrat administration in power. Now we can have an amnesty. They know exactly what they're doing. They're playing the long game. But we're going to beat them at it. We're going to ramp up interior enforcement operations and removals. We're going to enforce the law. We're not going to ignore the law like the prior administration did.
Imagine that, if you will. Imagine that now, finally, somebody has actually come out on camera and said, we know what your game was. You guys weren't cute. We know that your entire idea was to get these people in here, use these judges. You had to activate them early because of Trump. And so now it's been completely exposed. This was the game. The game was to get as many of these illegal newcomers in here as possible and then make it even more impossible to get them out. But what they didn't count on was you. See, they knew Trump would be in a position where he may try and keep deporting people. They knew what kind of person he was, that he was not going to be deterred. What they hoped would happen would be that the public, that Americans, would be so much in an uproar that he wouldn't even be able to keep getting these guys out of here. But they misjudged America. They didn't realize that this was such a huge, huge issue that actually swung the election. And now it's like a tidal play. I mean, it's like a 70% issue. Nobody wants these people here. Only the blue hairs with the ring noses. Everybody else is like, get them out. They did not count on that. That's, man, even if she had gotten elected, the uproar right now is so drastic that they're having a problem. They didn't expect this. Everything else they had in place. We got the judges, we're going to do this, we got the media, we've got politicians, some of them Republicans, who are just going to facilitate the demise of America. But they misjudged the American people. They misjudged you. Thank God for you. Because otherwise, we'd be turning into a third world country really quick. And now President Trump is in that position because he's got the American people behind him. Just keep going. Screw you. And for some reason, the Supreme Court seems to be okay with vague rulings. Nobody knows what they're doing. So at this point, President Trump's like, so what? I'm just going to keep on. Stop me. Show me how you're going to stop me. He now knows from so many polls and so many internal polls and reading of the news that the American people want these people out of here. And every time they talk about something they do, it just makes people go, yeah, get them out. I'm going to give you a story tonight that's going to curl your toes. I got a story tonight. I can't even talk about it here. Can't even talk about it here. But it will make you sweat at night when you hear the details of what happened in this story I'm going to tell you tonight. But right now, let's continue.
Fox News can report exclusively that DHS will announce today that they're going to start paying for the commercial flights of illegal aliens who self-deport from the U.S. And on top of that, they're going to pay them an additional $1,000 stipend once they're confirmed to have left the country. Now, DHS says doing this is going to be significantly cheaper for the American taxpayer. They tell us that right now it costs on average about $17,000 to arrest, detain, and deport someone. They say paying for self-deportations and the stipend will only cost about $4,500 per person. That's about 70% cheaper. Aliens are going to have to register to self-deport on the new CBP Home app to access that DHS financial assistance, as well as announce their intent to leave the country. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem tells Fox in part, quote, "If you are here illegally, self-deportation is the best, safest, and most cost-effective way to leave the United States to avoid arrest."
Now, Sean here, he went and found those Republicans that are screwing things up. It looks a little bit little on the screen, but it's John Thune. I didn't know Thune was one of the people who were objecting. Tillis, Cornyn, Cassidy, Susan Collins, and Mitch McConnell. Those 6 people, I didn't know about Thune. I never thought he'd be a turncoat like this. But those are the 6 that are holding up Ed Martin getting approved in the District of Columbia. We gotta have him approved. Have to. It's a no-brainer, and these people are mucking up the works here.
In the meantime, here in the sanctuary city of Los Angeles, ICE confirms to Fox News that 3 suspects arrested in connection with the home invasion murder of a man in the Woodland Hills neighborhood last Sunday are all in the U.S. illegally. ICE's acting director, Todd Lyons, tells Fox they are all Georgian nationals, 2 of whom were caught and released at the border after crossing illegally, and the 3rd, who overstayed a tourist visa and, listen to this, had 2 previous arrests with ICE detainers on him ignored due to sanctuary policy.
They were still allowed to stay here in the U.S. and commit crimes. So you have 3 individuals from the nation of Georgia who didn't know each other, who have now met up in the sanctuary state of California in Los Angeles and killed an innocent person. For these elected officials,
I don't know if you've had a chance to see some of the videos that Benny Johnson had put up when he was talking to Steve Hilton. But Benny, if you've never been to Los Angeles, well, number one, don't go. But if you've ever been to Los Angeles, you've seen them. It's just like a camp city. None of the media likes to talk about it. And so you get guys like podcasters going out and saying, you guys seeing this? This is California. It's California. I mean, it's just people living on the street in utter filth. California is turned into a cesspool. And that's what they want for the rest of the country. It is insane that this guy can even be thinking, Newsom, of doing a presidential run with what you see on these videos. The same thing in Pennsylvania. If you want to go on YouTube and want to see some, it looks like a war zone, put in Kensington, Philadelphia. Kensington, Philadelphia. It's a neighborhood, and it looks even worse than LA. It is nothing but a drug-infested, crime-swamped, homeless, decrepit area of the city. And the cops don't even go there. Yeah, let these people just... It's really, really bad.
I say shame on you.
And Dana, regarding DHS paying for those self-deportation flights, they tell us they've already tested this out successfully. They say they paid recently for an illegal alien to fly from Chicago back to Honduras. They tell us that any aliens who sign up and register to self-deport will be immediately deprioritized as a target for ICE arrest. They say thousands have self-deported already. They anticipate that number is going to shoot up significantly after today's announcement.
You can tell how strong this is actually working by the fact that CNN had to report, hey, we're going to cancel some Cinco de Mayo parades and stuff here because people don't want to come out and celebrate. Who wouldn't want to come out and celebrate? Well, obviously, the people who don't want to come out and celebrate are all the newcomers. Anybody else is like, what? What? Where's the margaritas? Where's the margaritas? Yeah. Who's worried? There's a Cinco de Mayo thing happening here tonight. Ain't nobody worried. To us, it's like go have tacos and nachos and everything else and have a couple margaritas. But to them, it's a trip home. We need to have Cinco de Mayo every day. Make them feel afraid. Make them feel like they need to pack up and get out. Look over their shoulder 24/7. Yeah, I said it.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, President Trump. All right, so last night on his way back from Mar-a-Lago, as he customarily does, he holds a press gaggle aboard Air Force One, where he just walks back to talk to the press. Hey, what's up, everybody? And of course, they have their regular portion of idiotic questions. But he drops some nuggets here that we're going to talk about.
Nice plane. Everyone having a good time. We'll be back in Washington soon. We have a lot of good news to report, and you'll be hearing about it. Probably not now, but you'll be hearing about it. We've had some good things coming out of the many war zones that we create by bite the group of incompetent people. But I think we have some pretty good news. We'll talk about that later or tomorrow. Any questions?
Any plans to speak with President Xi this week?
No plans to speak to him, but China and our people are talking about different things.
Why commit a science
So that question was, has he talked to Xi Jinping, the president of China? And he's like, nope, haven't talked to him yet, but our people are talking to their people. So let's continue.
I actually think it's a higher position. You want to know that? I think it's an upgrade. I think moving him there is an upgrade.
So, in case you didn't hear that one, they're still talking about Mike Waltz. Why did you fire Mike Waltz? It's not. I didn't fire him. I just moved him over here. I actually think of it as an upgrade. Okay. What do you say to that? You can't call him a liar, so I even asked the question.
said that they break into states and see your days. Was it really my rules that actually security eyes on?
No, it's irrelevant. It's not a mistake or not a mistake. It's not a big deal. He was fine, and where he is, he'll do a good job. I don't consider that. I didn't lose confidence in him. Why did I lose confidence? He's going to the United Nations. To me, I think it's personally, if I had a choice for myself of doing, I'd rather have that job than the other.
He didn't resign on his own.
He didn't resign. I just moved him. There's no resignation. You people are so bad.
How many times does he have to tell him? You people are so bad. You guys suck. I mean, here's the president of the United States, and you're telling him what decision he made. So why'd you fire him? He goes, I didn't fire him. It's a stupid question. How long have you been beating your wife? And you can't answer the question because it's stupid. It's so stupid. Oh, what happened there? Where'd I go with that? Anyway, let's continue.
You're trying to make a big deal out of something that's you are so bad. That's why nobody.
All right, so whoa, hey, check 1, check 2, check 3 here. What the heck just happened to my camera again here? All right, so something's going on, and we have an issue. Hold on, what the heck has happened? Hold on. Let me figure out what has happened here, why that's not working. Oh man, I got a problem. Got another problem with my camera. Hold on. All right, so wait 1 second. I got to figure out why this has happened right now. Oh gosh, I'm having an error. I can't. My board isn't switching. Will this switch? Crap, absolutely crap. Hold on. Hold on. Let me figure something out. So I can't blame this on the computer. That was user error. I'm sorry. I meant to do this.
These people are about 10 exits past normal. Look, you just got to try harder not to suck.
He watches you anymore. Who are you with?
This president.
Who are you with? You're with who? First. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Mr. President sounds like any trade deals allowing to speak.
It could very well be.
Can you tell us about them?
Nobody understands. We're negotiating with many countries. But at the end of this, I'll set my own deals because I set the deal. They don't set the deal. I set the deal. They've been ripping us off for years. I set the deal. So every country, almost without fail, friend and foe, has been ripping us off for years. So we're meeting with almost all of them, including China. And at the end, I'm setting the deal. We keep saying, when are you going to, this is not like a big deal that's going to be signed. In some cases, we'll sign. We don't have to have signed. I'm going to be setting the deal. I'll be setting a tariff. You keep asking the same question. When will you agree? It's up to me. It's not up to them. It's up to me. Now, they don't have to deal with us, which is okay, because we lost, under Biden, we're losing $5 billion a day. Think of it. $5 billion a day. Now we're not dealing with China at all because the tariff's so high that they basically can't deal. Then because of that, we're saving billions of dollars, yeah. But
they're so dishonest. They can't even contain their dishonesty. Yes, we're making money. They are losing money. The people in China are revolting in the street. I'm not sure if you've seen the videos. They're going nuts over there. Yes, over here, dollar stores are having issues. You know what was really interesting? I had posted something myself earlier, and it kind of like ticked me off because I really like this guy. Let me find it here so you guys can see what I posted. Because it just doesn't make any sense to me why some people do what they do. So I posted this. And I was responding to what Peter Schiff said. Peter Schiff said, Trump said small businesses won't need tariff relief because they're going to make so much money if they build their products here. Is Trump really that clueless? They can't build their products here, and if they did, they'd be too expensive for most of their customers to afford. Peter Schiff is a very smart guy. He knows the economy, and I don't know if he needed some extra relikes or retweets or whatever, but that's insane. Americans have to realize something. And here's what I said. While Peter may be somewhat right, he doesn't offer any solution. We must decouple from China. There is no other choice. Even if it means you pay higher prices in the short term, you got to pay higher prices in the short term. And I equated here, and I said that America is a junkie. It is a mainline, tied one off junkie. We have become addicted to cheap shit. That's all we began caring about. In our psyche, in our bank accounts, all we cared about is we want to make sure stuff is cheap. Don't mess with us and raise the price. It is the same thing as if you were just sticking a knife in somebody's arm. There is no difference. So you got basically two choices, America, if you want to survive. You can keep sticking that knife in your arm and getting a high and feeling great, or you can go cold turkey and go through detox and see if you can't live a normal life. And every single one of us who's known anybody who's had to get off of something, you know full well it's painful. Oh man, they go through all kinds of contortions, they throw up, they get shakes, they start wigging out, and it takes some time before they're done. Right now, America, you're junkies. You're walking around like the zombies in California or in Kensington, Pennsylvania. Oh my God, I need my fix. I need my Chinese stuff. And the media's your dealer. They just keep throwing it out there. Hey, you know you want that cheap stuff. Here's some sponges and stuff from, Dollar Tree. Oh, you know you want those dollar potato chips in that aisle. Here it is right here. Come on, man, I got some good stuff for you. And then you find out one day those things aren't there, And then you got to go to the regular store and like, oh man, what am I going to do? I can't take this. It's like $4 for a bag of chips. Well, you don't eat the bag of chips. You don't take the drug. You get off of it. You decouple from China. You don't hit that main line anymore. And America has to understand this detox is gonna hurt. All detoxes hurt. When I had the detox from blueberry muffins, I wanted to cry every morning. I literally, as many have told you, I used to have two blueberry muffins every single morning on the way into the office. I would stop at 7-Eleven, get my iced tea and my blueberry muffins and a banana every single day. And then one day the doctor said, that's enough of that. What do you mean? No more. You got to have protein. Let me just prove it to you. I thought I had it right here. Robin took it out of my box here. But there were protein bars sitting right here, which I need some real quick. No more muffins. No more bananas. You can't have that kind of stuff at your age. I'm like, I had to detox. It was painful. I had to go cold turkey. Are you ready to go cold turkey? Some of you are. Some of you may not be. Some of you be like, it's going to cost too much for me to buy this crap I've been buying. Well, buy different crap. Or don't do without the crap. But either way, like I told Peter Schiff, we got it. There's no choice. You're going to die as a country. You can't keep doing it. Any of you who have had interventions or talked to people who have had drug problems, you know they're sitting there and they're jonesing. Well, most of America right now that the media is trying to keep them jonesing, that's where you come in. You're going to have to talk to these people like, hey, no one said this is going to be easy. But your kids and your grandkids will be they're going to be happier if you go through this right now. I never seen a bunch of chicken crap people in all my life. Come on, man. Grab down between the legs and make sure there's something there. Stop whining about something cost more. Otherwise, we're done. We are done if we don't do it. And Peter, you're out here saying this. Maybe you've got business interests. I don't know. But any person who's giving financial advice and they're saying, we don't have to do this, they're basically your corner drug dealer. They're saying, just keep it going. Everything's fine. I'm making money. I'm selling my stuff. I'm a part owner of this company or that company. And we just got to keep that going because I need you. I need you as a junkie. Don't let them treat you like a junkie. Or else you are a junkie.
Just that I'm not saying this to be a wise guy with you, to be mean. I don't want to be mean to you. You're a good professional. But you do keep asking me that same question. It's not like we're going to sit down in an ivory room and we're going to he's going to say, there'll be some of that, very little. I don't see a lot of it. At some point in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'm going to be setting the deal. I'm going to say that such and such a country has had a tremendous trade surplus their way with us.
Do you know, as you're listening to this, you know what the big problem is? You're talking to journalists who have no idea anything about business. See, most of them probably didn't even know what a tariff was until like the last couple months, and then like, what the hell is a tariff? They don't know. How can you have business conversations with people who don't know anything about business? And so he's having like a higher level economic conversation, like why you keep asking me? And he asked him, why are you asking me the same questions? Go immerse yourself and find out what a tariff is. Stop looking at CNN. Don't ask any. I told you this about business before. Don't ask people about business who haven't done business in whatever field that is. And you got a whole bunch of people sitting back of Air Force One here going, so how are you going to cut a deal? Have you ever done one? Huh? Have you ever done a deal? No? Then why are you asking me any questions? And that's what he's surrounded with. And he's like, you don't even have any idea what you're talking about. Someone told you to ask, and you don't even understand it. So I'm telling you right now, if you don't understand what exactly is going on economically across the world, don't look at CNN, MSNBC, and don't even listen to Fox. Go take a couple hours and learn about how tariffs can be applied or not applied and what they do to the economy. These mental midgets have no idea.
They've taken advantage of us in various ways, and we fully understand what they were doing. We were being led by people that were not very smart. They were able to be taken advantage of, but I can't be taken advantage of. So at a certain point, I'll be just setting a certain tariff level.
What's PEPFAR, sir?
Say it?
PEPFAR, AIDS treatment in Africa. There's a great policeman who are saying to my colleagues that they're still not getting medicines, and you might be.
Well, that shouldn't be happening. But the other thing.
All right, so you couldn't hear because of airplane. So you're asking the president of the United States why Africa isn't getting their medicines. Because we put tariffs on stuff. These people are asking why the African people aren't getting what they need. You're asking the President of the United States why Africa isn't being taken care of. Should be a question for the African president or warlord or whoever. What are you asking us for? Now, understand, when they play these things on TV, I wonder if people listen to the questions like, wait a second, why don't you go over to Africa, fly over and ask them, hey, I see kids dying here, it kind of stinks, why do they not have their medicine? It's a simple question. Well, they have no medicine because Donald Trump cut it off. Well, you're the president of Zimbabwe. Yes. Why don't you have any medicine? Because you're not a sovereign country is what you're telling me. You can't afford to pay your bills. You've been sucking off the American teat of the American government, and they've been just doling out our money because you can't take care of the people who live here, which means you're not really a country. You are a subsidiary. And that's what this reporter just asked the President of the United States.
Other countries should be helping us with that. And I'm a big fan of getting that solved. But, we're the only country. Where is France? Where is Germany? Where are these other countries? Nobody does anything but the United States. And we spend, billions and billions of dollars. So they should be helping also. But as you know, we did a waiver. You know that, right?
Right.
Well, I can't help that because if we did a waiver, then you have to get your people to act properly in the waiver. But I do ask, why are we the only country doing it?
Is that a bad question to ask? It seems like the press would ask that. Go to Canada, go over to France, go over to England. It's like, wait a second, how much you guys paying to the Africans? America does that. You guys aren't paying to help the Africans? The Africans are eating dust? And you're not helping them? You just rely on the Americans. So we're the world's policeman, we're the world's bank, and we're the world's food bank. Well, actually, you are. And we're not even supposed to complain about it. Hey, I don't want my money going over there. I would like to pay less taxes. How do you pay less taxes? If y'all stop spending it in Zimbabwe. Now understand, I care about humanity. But I care about American humanity first. Like I said, if you look at the videos in Kensington or you look at Benny's videos that he just took in Los Angeles, it don't look much different than what's going on in Zimbabwe. Why they're not, save the children in Kensington? Why they're not just food banks and all kinds of things, doctors with borders in Los Angeles? Why are these people looking around like they're just zombies? Oh, that's because we took care of Africa.
What's your timeline on trusting your judicial nominations? What's your rights for your
What's your nominations?
The judicial nominations
positions? Well, we're putting them in rapidly. We're trying to get very good ones. I mean, we need judges that are not going to be demanding trials for every single illegal immigrant. We have millions of people that have come in here illegally, and we can't have a trial for every single person. That would be millions of trials. The people elected me in a landslide with we won every swing state, we won everything there is to win by big numbers. Not only swing state, we won the popular vote by millions of votes. They elected me, this was the number one issue, and now we have judges that are radicalized and they're crazy because they want us to have, if you believe this, they want us to have a trial for every person that came in illegally into our country. So they come into our country illegally, and then we're supposed to take weeks, I guess, and months to have a trial with every criminal, that we have murderers all over the country. I don't think the Supreme Court will stand for that. I can't believe it. Because you know what, if they do, we're not going to have a country.
So here's where the test is going to be. It shouldn't be a test. And Stephen Miller outlines it right here. Here is the crux of everything the Democrats and these judges are trying to do. The right of this is Stephen Miller. The right of due process is to protect American citizens and government, not to protect foreign trespassers from removal. Due process guarantees the right of criminal defendants facing prosecution, not an illegal newcomer facing deportation. That is the defining definition that will decide all of this. It is really that simple. The Democrats, all of a sudden, they didn't do it with Obama, didn't do it with Clinton, anybody else, Bush, Biden, nope. But now they want to apply due process to the newcomers. That is it. That is the last battle we are going to have to deal with. And until the Supreme Court says, no, they don't get due process, they're not from here. They've never received due process. How do you all of a sudden convey due process onto someone who's not supposed to be here? And that's the big MK Ultra shell game in a nutshell right there. They need to throw as much propaganda out there to let you think all these people, all 20 million of them, need complete due process. And that's what the big issue is.
How will you make sure that the judges that you appoint that are implemented?
All you can do is do the best you can. You know, you try and appoint the best people to being judges or anything else that you appoint. But so far, we've been very disappointed with the decisions that come out, and mostly from the people appointed by others that may. But it's just so hard to believe that you have a murderer. Many, we have 11,888, or whatever the number is. We have thousands of murderers in this country. We're getting them out. And they say, we don't want them out. We want them to stay in our country until they have a trial. Trials take years. They take years. It's so crazy. We won't have a country left. We can't have that happen. Who are you with? Wall Street Journal. That's right. Well, you people treat us so badly. Wall Street Journal has truly gone to hell. Go ahead. It's a rotten newspaper. What already? You hear what I said? It's a rotten newspaper.
Can you imagine with a microphone and you're sitting on Air Force One and the President of the United States says, your newspaper is crap. And then says to you, did you hear what I told you? In case you didn't hear it the first time, your newspaper is crap. Right to your face. What do you do? Find another job.
I wouldn't tell the Wall Street Journal because I'd be wasting my time. There are talks, but I don't want to talk to the Wall Street Journal. But look, Wall Street Journal is China-oriented, and they're really bad for this country. Go ahead.
Wow, he wouldn't even answer the guy's question. Yeah, you're China, and I got nothing to say to you. Matter of fact, I need to find out how the hell you're on my plane. I got to figure out, I don't want you here anymore. That's how bad you are, and I'm not even going to take your question. Next. Wow.
Well, I want a fair deal with China, but China's been ripping us off for many years, so maybe something should be thought about,
little bit of retribution. China's been ripping us off for many years, ever since they started. To me, I think it was the worst thing that Richard Nixon ever did.
That's right.
And it was Nixon, he's the one that got it started. And they've taken advantage of
And before he goes, I'm sorry, but I have something to say as I've been watching this. And I'm like, why are these people so concerned with Africa and China? You're sitting on a plane of the United States of America, Air Force One, transporting the president. Your newspaper or television station is broadcast in the United States for the most part. Your advertisers are here for the most part to help you make money with your shows and your newspapers. Everything about your existence depends upon America. Or unless it doesn't. Unless you're all being paid off by China. See, I think at some point we need to start digging and going, how are they making these payrolls? Because that could only be the explanation why you're so worried about flipping China and Africa. None of these people ever say, you know what, I ran into some really poor people in Boston. They need my help. Nope. Nope. No, you don't matter.
So Mexico is saying that I offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to take care of the cartel. She wants to know, is that true? Do you think I'm going to answer that question? I will answer it. It's true. Because they are horrible people that have been killing people left and right, they've made a fortune on selling drugs and destroying our people. We lost 300,000 people last year to fentanyl and drugs. They're bad news. Yeah, that's true. If Mexico wanted help with the cartels, we would be honored to go in and do it. I told her that. I would be honored to go in and do it. The cartels are trying to destroy our country. They're evil. And, we had 300,000 people die last year from fentanyl and all that. We had millions of people brought into this country that shouldn't be here. The cartels brought them in. So if she said that I offered to do that, she's 100% real.
She's just credited she denied that once, that she doesn't want.
Well, she's so afraid of the cartel she can't walk, so, that's the reason. And I think she's a lovely woman. But the president of Mexico is a lovely woman. But she is so afraid of the cartels that she can't even think straight. So look fight.
All right, so if you guys haven't seen it, I have President Trump's interview with Kristen Welker from MSNBC coming up after this, and he goes into a little bit more detail about it. But I don't know if you saw the news, but you heard him. I offered the American military to come in and eradicate these snakes called the cartels. We'll just get rid of them. You won't have to worry about it. You're the president for all the people, right? And she said, no thanks. Why would the president of Mexico say, no, we're good, the cartels are fine? Well, she exposed herself. He's absolutely right. She's either involved in them or terrified of them. One or the other. These countries can't exist with good. All they can exist with is evil. She was probably installed as president by the cartels. Do what we tell you, or your daughter's head is going to be spinning on a pike somewhere. The American military could probably end the reign of the cartels, I'd say in about 30 days. But she won't allow it. So in that regard, I would hit her hard with everything we got.
Mr. Welker, that maybe all this was up to $35, maybe $8.
Let's all I'm saying is that a young lady, a 10-year-old girl, 9-year-old girl, a 15-year-old girl doesn't need $37. She could be very happy with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I would. Let's not waste a lot of time with a stupid question. What else?
All right, so that question was talking about Christmas presents. And it's like, maybe little Sally only gets $3 instead of $10 this year. The stupidest of questions. Live within your means. I don't understand how people have these questions about the tariffs and what the impacts are going to be. You live within your means. Little Sally, she'll be okay with a couple dolls. You don't need 10, doesn't need 15. She should be okay with 1 or 2. You can't afford it. It's your personal responsibility to manage what you can afford, not what you want. You only get what you need. Wait, I sound like Mick Jagger there. People aren't understanding this. Your lives are going to change. Doesn't mean they have to change for the worse. You just have to change. Robin and I, when we were down in Fort Lauderdale, and yes, we stayed in a nice hotel, and we went out to dinner that night and everything else, but some people couldn't go to that restaurant. Doesn't make them bad, doesn't make me bad. You have to understand, you have to deal with what your financial situation is, or change it. But you can't blame the country because you can no longer afford steak. Maybe now you're just going to have hamburgers. It's not the government's position to make sure that your lifestyle improves or gets worse based upon your wants. It is his job to make sure that we're protected, and in part of that protection is making sure we're not taken advantage by other countries so you can get a 25-cent sponge. I think every single one of you remembers, those of you who did go to college, what that first impact was when you got to college. Because when I got to college and I realized, oh, we got the dining hall, that's great, that's great. But it's about 9:30 and I'm hungry. And Mom doesn't have the refrigerator full back there. What am I supposed to do? I don't know. Hey, it's Saturday. We're going to get some beers? Yeah. Mom does, where am I getting the money from? Well, what happens? You're like, hey, you know that nightclub down there? Yeah, they're looking for some big dummies to be bouncers. They're going to pay you. Oh, well, I guess I'll go do that. Look, I just got like $90. I'm going to party this weekend. Well, I should have been partying. I should have been living better, but I had my own money that I had to realize, go do something. Mom's not here anymore. She's not cooking. There's no big pot of food in the back of the fraternity house. Oh, man. And I couldn't eat everybody else's food too often. So then I made a deal with my mom. And she got me a checking account. Yeah, she got me a checking account. Bad mistake. Bad mistake. She calls me up. She goes, what the heck is Daffy Deli? Oh, well, Daffy Deli was this sub shop around the corner from the fraternity house. And every single night about 9:30, like, hey, Daffy Deli, write a check. Mom's covering it. Until Mom said, no more. Well, what am I going to do? Go to the grocery store. Do what you need to do. Stop buying these subs. Go make your own sandwiches. Go get a couple loaves of bread or some rolls and some deli meat and some cheese and make your own damn sandwiches. Okay, so I had to go, which went down to the grocery store and started getting my own stuff. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can definitely do this. But I wanted more. I know I got a secret that's not a secret for those of you who were in college, but I learned what Spam was. I'm like, what's this? 69 cents for a pound of this stuff? I don't know what it is, but it's only 69 cents. This is going way back. I'm gonna get to know Spam really good. And what's that? 39 cents for mac and cheese. I remember Mom makes mac and cheese. So for like $2, I ate for like a week. I had Spam and cold cuts and mac and cheese. I was good. I couldn't buy the subs anymore. Mom wouldn't let me just keep writing checks. But then I adjusted, and obviously I turned out okay. eating the Kraft macaroni and cheese. And so, you know what was really good? You chop the Spam up and put that in the mac and cheese. I was like, oh, this was good. And then what else happened? Other guys in the fraternity like, what you eating, man? I got this mac and cheese, and I got some Spam up in here, and it tastes good. Let me taste that. How much that cost? And I told them, you can get this stuff for like 69 cents. And this costs like 39 cents. And you just go add some water and some butter, and you got a whole pot of mac and cheese. Was it the same as the deli that I was writing the checks for? No. Was I getting sustenance? Absolutely. People have to eat, they have to purchase, they have to do things within the realm of what they can afford and what you need, not what you want. There are military people all around the world right now who are eating and living, and especially if they're deployed someplace in secret, where they're eating rations. These are guys who are dying, who are willing to die for us, and they're eating stuff out of a can that billy goats don't even want to eat. They'd love to have a nice sirloin, but I'm deployed in some cave someplace, and I got to eat this. It works. They can eat steak when they get home, hopefully. See, Americans have to feel that. Americans got fat and comfortable. What are you willing to do to save America? Are you willing to get a little bit uncomfortable? Because if you don't feel like you need to be uncomfortable, we got a problem. We got big problems if people don't understand. You got to be comfortable. That's where we are right now, and not enough people are taking that seriously.
Well, if that, I don't know about it, but I'm honored if that's the case. If they're going to name a road after me, if that's the case, I'm honored. Thank you. Well, I have a lot of people that want the job, I can tell you. That's, I mean, a lot of people see it really works in with what Marco's doing. But we have a lot of people. I'm going to be naming somebody, but we'll make it. I would say within 6 months. You would do the job permanently, but I think it's, it's an appropriate job. Are you considering Stephen Miller? Stephen Miller is at the top of the totem pole. I mean, I think he sort of indirectly already has that job. You understand? Because he has a lot to say about a lot of things. He's a very valued person in the administration, Stephen Bing.
Sure, it's reached 100 days. What do you see as managing that rate of school?
I think we had the greatest 100 days in the history of our country for that administration. I think we've done more. We've gotten rid of woke. We're strengthening up our military. Think of it. 6 months ago, we had the worst numbers in the history of our military for joining our military and police. Now we have the best numbers we've ever had. Just think of that. It's not even possible.
And it's frustrating. Robin and I talked about this yesterday. We're sitting down. You're going to see some of it tonight. We're sitting on the balcony, and we're watching these planes just craziness. And I thought of that as we've heard that over and over, that people now are proud, want to go serve. And I'm looking down the beach and people are screaming looking at American firepower. Screaming, going crazy. And you think to yourself, what happened? How come you guys are reporters? Why did nobody want to join the armed forces the last 4 years? What was wrong? Why is there such a turnabout? He just saw President Trump talking with Roger Goodell of the NFL. If a team turns itself around, people like to analyze what happens. Is it the quarterback? Is it defense? What a coach? How did you turn it around? Well, this one's a pretty easy one to look at. What happened the last 4 years, and what's the contrast with now? What's the difference? Why are people enlisting and wanting to be a part of this when they didn't want to before? But see, as a reporter, you could be writing that story. Now that there's no more DEI, now that there's no more Transformers, now that there's a guy who wants to increase lethality, now there's a guy who they can see as one of them. But you don't hear those stories. It's very simple. When you see that much of a change, why aren't you writing a story about it? You drive down the road and something's on fire, and you see, oh, how'd it get on fire? There was a building there. Now there's just dust. How'd that happen? Oh, there was a fire. How'd the fire start? You ask questions. But right here, nothing? You don't want to know why there's been just a complete increase in people enlisting? You're not reporters.
Inflation's down, wall costs are down, everything is down, other than, as Tristan said, the thing that you carry the babies around in. But that's up 3%. Energy's down, gasoline's down. Nobody's ever seen anything, far ahead of schedule. So people that were paying a lot for groceries, they're paying a lot less. And interest rates are even down. We have a very stubborn Fed, but Fed should lower, but that's okay. But interest rates are down, mortgage rates are down. That's pretty amazing. So we've done, I don't think there's never been a better opening 100 days. We have a lot of fake polls where they interview Democrats, not Republicans, but meaning more Democrats. I had a pollster that said to me, a legitimate pollster, John McLaughlin, top person. He said he's never seen polls that were so fake before, where they overweight the Democrats. And I only bring that up because I think it's something that should be said. It's a shame how dishonest the media is. The media is corrupt and they're dishonest and they're so bad for our country. Thank you very much,
So if you had that chance to talk to President Trump and you're on Air Force One or one of these gaggles that he does on an ongoing basis, at some point you have to look around at the people you're standing next to and realize something's really wrong. Something's really wrong. We're asking really stupid questions. And we're asking questions, I mean, we're talking, 100 days in, right? We're asking questions that at this point, 100 days in, you should know the answer. Are interest rates down? Yes. Okay. Are grocery prices down? Yes. Is gas down? Yes. So you already know that. So instead of saying, what's going on with gas prices? Hey, President Trump, I've noticed where I live, gas prices are down probably 20%. How much further do you expect the gas prices can drop? That's a question. I went to the grocery store. Some things were more expensive, some things were, fine. When do you expect that other things that I used to buy will come back down? That's a good question. But they don't ask that. They never do. All right, so let me take a second. Talk to you about gold and silver. You can get this, basically, this one probably for about $35. This one's going to cost you a little bit more, but right now would be a good time to begin hedging your bets. To get some stuff that you know under the blanket, inside the safe, wherever you're going to keep them, is going to make sure that you are okay for the future. And I've talked to you about gold and I've talked to you about silver, and you can watch gold. It goes like this. It pretty much stays at about the same. In fact, let me check the gold price right now, because it's pretty interesting. Gold price today. Well, I gotta show you this. Let me show you this real quick before I talk to you about Lear Capital. Where is this? Hold on one second. It's up, it's up, it's up. All right, so here is gold right now. It is up plus 101 points, up 3.2, 3.08, and as you can see, there's the chart. It started off this morning and it's popping up. Let's check the 5-day. 5-day, it's off the charts here. Look at that. You see what happens when people say buy the dip? You understand what they mean by when they say buy the dip? This is a 5-day number here. Let's look at the 1 month number. 1 month, I can't see it all the way over, but look where it was just 1 month ago. And now look where it is. So obviously things are on the rise. You may want to look at gold and silver. The reason I keep talking about it is because with all these tariffs and everything happening, this is going to be a good time for you to buy gold and silver. We're in a very volatile time right now. There's plenty of financial uncertainty. Now is not the time to be speculative. And I'm also speaking from a personal perspective. I'm buying income-producing real estate, and I'm buying gold and silver. A lot of people don't know the difference between the economy and the stock market. And too many people listen to the news and social media. That'll get you in trouble. Let's face it. It's obvious that a lot of people have an agenda they're not telling you about. Right now, your best bet is stability. And that means you might need to build a hedge against global volatility. May I recommend gold and silver to you? Real gold and real silver. Not paper, not certificates. Actual gold and silver. What gold and silver can give you is absolute peace of mind. A stock is only as good as the company behind it. It's merely a piece of paper. One of the things I can tell you is that many people are finding out the hard way that some of their investments were built on quicksand. Gold will never be worth zero. Silver will never be worth zero. If you want to calm some of your fears, give my friends at Lear Capital a call today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. Just so you know, Lear Capital has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $5 billion in trusted transactions. And Lear is the only gold company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So go to learberry.com. If you want peace of mind, give my friends at Lear Capital a call at 800-601-5430. Or look down here below and go to learberry.com. And don't forget to ask about getting up to $15,000 in free gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. Don't wait. Do it now. Nobody knows what tomorrow holds. Be safe. I just want to say thank you to the Fanfare community. And if you're new here, I'd like to take a moment and welcome you. If you watch my videos, you've probably realized at this point that this isn't your usual podcast. The difference is that every single day, I try to make this show an open conversation amongst friends. You see, I believe that speaking to friends, here and in your own circle offline, is the best way to push back against all the lies being told by the Democrats and the media. I encourage people in this community to welcome each other, and in doing so become a source of support for those seeking to unplug from the matrix. If you'd like to communicate on a deeper level, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, but if you'd really like to surround yourself with like-minded patriots, join our free and private X group by going to fanfareshop.org/group. When you join this free group, a few things will happen. One, if you haven't used X before, you can use X without venturing into the sewer that it sometimes can be. Two, you can share content with friends that you meet here. 3, you will get notified every time I go live, so you can't count on YouTube notifications. And 4, and this might be most important, you get content that I can't share on YouTube or Rumble. So please take a moment and join our free and private X group. Just go to fanfareshop.org/group. Remember, it's members only. There are 16,000 plus people in that group right now, getting close to 17,000. To join our free and private members only X group, just go to fanfareshop.org/group. We'll see you there.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, we're back. As somebody had texted me and they're like, what about silver? Just to show you real quick, this is silver today at 32.63, up 1.15%. But watch this. Here's the 5-day. The 5-day shows silver down 1.73. But look at the 1 month. Boom! Boom! up 10.29% in the last 30 days. I've been talking about silver for a lot longer than 30 days, so if you had listened, you might have got some. All right, so let me take some comments here before we get into the next part of the show, because we're going to be talking about President Trump, and I've got this couple, I'd say about 10 or 15 clips of his interview with Kristen Welker from MSNBC News, and I loved how he answered these questions. Let's see here. I wish we had bought XRP at 50 cents. Bingo. Gas was $3.49 3 weeks ago. It is now $2.99 today in Minnesota. What else we got here? Oh, somebody said something like, well, you bought Spam at 69 cents in college, and it doesn't cost that anymore. Yeah, in a long time since I've been in college, I just checked. Spam's like $2.99. Come on, man. Come on. Let's see what else we got. Spam is $6. No way. I don't know where you live. I pick up a can of Spam here in South Florida for $2.99. $2.99 with the key. It's called you're over the target, Barry. Yeah, probably. What President Trump should do is have pre-printed answers on paper signed by him for those idiots who keep asking the same questions over and over again. Yeah, that's crazy. Ooh, thank you, Mary. I got silver coins through Lear Capital. Very cool. What else we got here? Oh boy, here we go. Barry, that was uncalled for to tell all the people on Section 8 to pay their own damn rent. There's needy people in this country that actually need a step up, whether it's physical or mental issues. You want me to seriously go into that? Because you didn't listen. Go back and rewind. I always advocate for people who have mental issues or physical infirmities to be taken care of. Never, ever, ever, ever have I said, hey, listen, this person who's disabled or this person who's got some sort of mental problem shouldn't be taken care of. Never, ever, ever have I said that, and never, ever will I ever say it. That's always the asterisk with everything financial, especially when you're talking about the entitlement programs. If somebody can't work because of mental conditions or physical conditions, they are always accepted. I guess you didn't figure that out yet. Let's see. When I make mac and cheese, I always cut up something into it. Chunks of hot dogs, even steak, pork, sliced ham, whatever meats I have left over. Absolutely. And it's good. Good point, Kim. Section 8 was not meant for people to be on for life. Exactly. Exactly. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. None of these programs were lifelong programs. They weren't cradle to the grave. They became cradle to the grave. People tried to figure out how they could game the system. It's an old argument I don't even choose to want to get into. Yes, I'll say it again. If you have a mental or physical reason why you can't do anything, then by all means, you should be taken care of. That being said, everybody else, you need to get your asses to work. Period. All right, let's look at let's look at Kristen Welker's interview with President Trump yesterday.
Let's talk about the border. Okay. Let's talk about deportations. Border crossings are at their lowest level ever recorded. Is the border?
Is that good?
Is the border now secure?
Yeah, it's really secure.
It's absolutely
Isn't that good?
secure.
When you say that, doesn't that just sound good? After being abused for years by an incompetent president that allowed people to pour through an open border, criminals from all over the world, murderers and insane people from mental institutions and insane asylums, isn't it a beautiful thing when you say it's the most secure it's ever been in the history of our country? Isn't that a nice statement?
No comment needed there. She stepped right into that one. And he loved it. Yeah, isn't that a good thing? And she had no retort.
What do you say to those who believe you are taking the country down an authoritarian path?
Well, there you go again. Why don't you ask it a different way? Many people wanted to come into our country. Many people love Trump. I won the election. They didn't win the election. I got a lot more votes than they did. I won the popular vote. I won all 7 swing states by a lot. A lot of people were surprised. I said, I think he could win 4, maybe 5. No, I won all 7, and I won by a lot. And I won, actually. I think there was a lot of hanky-panky going on, but it was too big to rig. That's the good news. It's too big to rig. But let me just say, so when you make these statements about, people say this, well, you know, they had their chance at the election and they lost big. So you should ask the question differently. You should say, what about the people that want to be in this country? What about the people that love this country?
But what do you say? I'm asking it on behalf of those people to give you a chance to respond to them. What do you say to those people, sir?
Those people are going to be very happy. They're going to have to see some results. And I think we had a great 100 days. There are a lot of people that say it was unprecedented. It was an absolutely unprecedented 100 days. And I hope that they're going to be right.
It's one of the things I've said on this show many times. If taxes are lower, if gas prices are lower, if food prices are lower, if rent is lower, if interest rates are lower, none of those things I just mentioned are Republican or MAGA only. All these people protesting and screaming and everything else, guess what? You get to enjoy it just as well. See, the press doesn't want to delineate that. You just go ask a liberal, hey, what'd you pay for gas this morning? Okay. It's better, right? Yeah. Should it not be? Should this only be for Republicans and MAGA? I always put those in 2 different classes these days. Because that's the question, Kristen. They still get to employ it. Even though you hate the man's guts, you still get some. Well, I think the rest of us just want you to say thank you.
You're not profiting off of the cryptocurrency business
I haven't even looked.
Has your family?
I'll tell you what, look, if I own stock in something and I do a good job and the stock market goes up, I guess I'm profiting. But who really profits is somebody like Nancy Pelosi, who uses inside information. She worked for $175,000 a year, and that's at the high end, and she's worth $150, $200 million. Okay, you ought to look at Nancy Pelosi, and you ought to look at some of these politicians that are stone cold crooks. I was very wealthy when I came in. Being president, I probably cost me money if you really look.
How does the press reconcile that? How does a person who's interviewing a billionaire who's got his name on buildings all over the world, on golf courses, you can substantiate his income, his wealth. He's in movies, sold everything. How do you, if you're worried about him, how are you not worried about the people who've done nothing? Nancy Pelosi never built anything, never sold anything, nothing. And she has $200 million. Why does the press not ask these questions? It's very simple. You can do the same thing. Have an interview. Hey, where'd you get your money? We can't tell. Did you have an oil field someplace? What happened? How did you go from $175,000 a year to $200 million? And don't tell me you traded well because you had to start trading someplace. But they won't even ask those questions, which is what President Trump is trying to goad her into doing. Go ask them. Before I was president, I had buildings. The whole skyline in New York's got buildings. So I can substantiate money I made. What about these people like Jasmine Crockett, who supposedly now have a couple million, or AOC? Do you ask them? Man.
Canada was a state. It wouldn't cost us. It would be great. It would be such a great, it would be a cherished state. And if you look at our map, if you look at the geography, I'm a real estate guy at heart. when I look down at that without that artificial line that was drawn with a ruler many years ago, it was just an artificial line, goes straight across. You don't even realize what a beautiful country it would be. It would be great. But I don't think the American public wants me to pay $200 billion a year to subsidize Canada. Again, remember this.
Yeah.
We don't need their cars. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy. We don't need anything. We do very little business with Canada. They do all of their business practically with us.
You and I.
They need us. We don't need them.
You and I talked, and
she wanted to change the subject. So you're sitting here interviewing the President of the United States, and he tells you facts, and you just immediately want to change the subject. And when you're put with that information, well, I don't need you. Does that sound harsh? I don't need Zimbabwe. You guys are having us throw all this money around. And these people in the press have no way to combat that.
so small businesses say they are being hurt by the Chinese tariffs, and some could be forced to shut down.
And many businesses are being helped.
Are you considering tariff relief for small businesses?
Why do you always mention that, you pick up a couple of little businesses? What about the car business? They're going to make a fortune because of the tariffs. Do you know that the union, the head of the union, who was no fan of mine, Sean Fain, I guess his name is, right? He didn't endorse me. The Teamsters did. A lot of people did. A lot of unions did. But he didn't. He couldn't stand me. Now he's saying, wow, what Trump's done for the automobile, I can't believe it. I assume he's going to probably now say, the next thing he can say is, I endorse this guy. He's the greatest I've ever seen. He can't believe it's happened. He said, we've been waiting 40 years for somebody to do what Trump is doing. So why don't you mention the big car industry instead of mentioning somebody that's doing strollers?
Well, I'm just asking you about small businesses. Are there any discussions about giving any relief to small businesses?
They're not going to need it.
Okay.
They're going to make so much money.
Are these tariffs?
If you build your product here. Remember, there are no tariffs if you build your product here. It's very easy. It's very simple.
People have asked me many times, and even though people here in the chat, why does President Trump continue going on these shows and dealing with these idiots? Because he's getting the word out. That last part of that exchange is something most people don't know. Oh, this is going to be more expensive. Business is hurting. Doesn't have to. And that was a perfect jumping off point with her. Mr. President, can you explain how businesses avoid being hurt by the tariffs? Good question. Good question, Kristen. Here's how you can avoid being hurt. Buy American stuff. It's simple. It is really, well, it's going to be more expensive. Okay. Then you know what? Maybe promote that. You go to a restaurant or something. Robin does it every single time. And I sit there like this because she loves seafood. And she will say to the person, hey, okay, you've got a snapper on the menu. Where's it from? Every single time, without fail, 100%, not a few times. Oh, you've got mahi-mahi. Where's it from? You've got shrimp. Where's it from? She always asks where her seafood is from. And the restaurants around here are smart enough to know, oh, this is from Maine. This is from Virginia. This is from here, from Florida. They know it. They know it's a question that's going to get asked. And I'm thinking to myself, are we going to restaurants and stuff where we're the only ones asking? Are you not asking where something is from? When you're in a grocery store and there's people walking around in the shirts, hey, excuse me, hey, where are these avocados from? Oh, those are from, Florida, or they're from San Francisco. Okay, thank you. What about this artichokes? Where are these artichokes from? Oh, they're from Mexico. Yeah, okay. It's very simple. Ask. I tell everybody, because people start complaining now, ask. It really is that easy. Where's this from? Do it.
Let me ask it this way, sir, because when we talked in December, I asked you, what is your message to people who didn't vote for you? Let me remind you of what you said. You said, I love you, and we're going to all work together. How does pursuing your political foes help to unify?
Did I really say I love you?
You really did. That's a direct quote.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right, but I'd like to see.
I promise I'll show it to you. I'll show you the tape.
Look.
How does that help to unify the country?
I want to treat people fairly. whether they voted for me or not. I want to have a unified country. It's very hard because the media is so fake, including, like even the way you ask questions. Every question is asked in a negative vein. There's a toy company that took a toddler's, whatever, but you don't talk about the fact that gasoline is down at numbers that nobody believes possible. You know why they're down, by the way? Drill, baby, drill. We're drilling like crazy right now.
We try to make sure every question is fair, Mr. President.
Look, every question you ask says a very negative slant.
No, but look, I'm just curious.
I'm fine for responding to you. I don't think you're very difficult at all to respond to be honest with you. But you know what? You should ask some positive things like,
oh, this isn't the oatmeal eater in chief. You're talking to someone who's very polished and very comfortable talking to the press. And he can just weave and bob and say what he wants, and you're on camera. Now, a couple of these segments, they pulled from the actual show. I had to go dig and find them. They were like, well, we can't show that. When he starts talking about the election, oh, we can't show that one.
You have built a political movement that has transformed the Republican Party.
Industry.
It's transformed the country, quite frankly.
Political movement in history, MAGA. Make America great again.
When you look to the future, Mr. President, do you think the MAGA movement can survive without you as its leader?
Yes, I do.
What gives you?
I think it's so strong, and I think we have tremendous people. I think we have a tremendous group of people. We talked about a number of them. You look at Marco, you look at J.D. Vance, who's fantastic. You look at, I could name 10, 15, 20 people right now just sitting here. No, I think we have a tremendous party. And you know what I can't name? I can't name one Democrat. I mean, I look at the Democrats, they're in total disarray. They have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. And they said, she's the future of the party. I said, you have to be kidding. I don't know what they're going to do. And I really believe in a two-party system. Because it's good to be challenged. It's really good to have a two-party. You know, it's good. Being challenged is okay. It keeps you sharp. I don't know what they're going to do. They have nobody. Bernie's 87 years old or something. And you know, Biden is the worst thing that ever happened to old people because he was grossly incompetent. And I think maybe for artificial reasons. You know, he had operations and things. So maybe that's an artificial. But I know people that are unbelievably sharp, and they're older than 87. But I watch Bernie Sanders. He's a nut job, but he's still sharp. He's sharp as he's the same guy he was. He hasn't gone down. But Biden is really, he's the worst thing to happen to old people.
I know that you are only 100 days in, but as we sit here today, who do you see as your successor, Mr. President?
Well, it's far too early to say that, but, I do have a...
Before he answers this question, I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Who's next? If President Trump doesn't run again, if he decides he's going to retire and go back to doing some real estate and go golfing, who's next? He's going to tell you who he thinks may be next. I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Who's next? And it might surprise you what he says here.
President, and typically it would be, and JD's doing a fantastic job.
He would be at the top of the list?
It could very well be. I don't want to get involved in that. I think he's a fantastic, brilliant guy. Marco is great. There's a lot of them that are great. I also see tremendous unity, but certainly you would say that somebody's the VP. If that person is outstanding, I guess that person would have an advantage. But I think the other people would all stay in unbelievably high positions. But, it could be that he'd be challenged by somebody. We have a lot of good people in this party.
I'm looking at a lot of the comments here, and almost everybody, I would say probably 80% of people are saying JD. A couple of people are saying Marco. And even somebody said, let's see, I don't like JD, Miller, Vance. Looks like JD has got the inside track. Somebody said Don Jr. I don't think Don Jr. would run. But J.D. Vance, somebody says Vivek. Interesting. I would like to see a party or a ticket of J.D. Vance in Tulsi. Keep the big party open. Keep going. But what's very interesting, and somebody else said in the chat, and I alluded to it earlier when I was saying, I can't call this, I'm not a Republican. I have to say I am not a Republican. I am MAGA. That's it. We should just put an M next to our names. Because this Republican Party ain't for crap. These people, I mean, when's the last time you heard Ted Cruz do something? Some of these big names, Josh Hawley, do something. What are you guys doing? If it weren't for the cabinet, nothing would be getting done. You guys in Congress are doing nothing. Tomorrow afternoon, I've got Congressman Wesley Hunt on. I'm going to ask him that question. Hey, man, who is going to spearhead this stuff that needs to get done? I love Wesley Hunt. Like the way he talks. I love his entire attitude about things. I know he's a former West Point guy. I think he was there when my brother was in West Point. But he'll be on tomorrow, barring nothing happening, and we'll be talking to Wesley Hunt. So I'm going to ask him straight up. And now I'm also going to offer you guys something, because one of the things is when I do these interviews, I always come up with the questions. So I'd love, if you guys are going to be interested in hearing what Wesley Hunt has to say, go ahead and put some of that in the chat. And Ashley or SV can start, cataloging. What do you want to know from Wesley Hunt? Do you even know who Wesley Hunt is? But let me get a few questions from you guys as well. All right, let's continue.
Obviously, you've had a back and forth with the Supreme Court. In a 9-0 decision, the Supreme Court directed your administration to facilitate the return, you've talked about this in the past, of Kilmar Abrego Garcia from a prison in El Salvador, whose deportation your administration called it.
Seriously? You just ruined all your credibility, honey. You're bringing up the Maryland man. After everything we've seen in the last week, you're bringing up the Maryland man again. Now, I've seen this, and he is perfect, proper decorum, but I had to look at her and go, what are we talking about? You got this much time, you just wasted it. You really want me to spend the time answering this question? Man.
Administrative error. You said in a recent interview you could bring him back, but you won't. Are you defying the Supreme Court, sir?
No, I'm relying on the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, who's very capable, doing a great job, because I'm not involved in the legality or the illegality. I have lawyers to do that, and that's why I have a great DOJ. We have a great one. We had a very corrupt one before. Now we have a great one. And they're not viewing the decision the way you said it. They don't view it that way at all. They think it's a totally different decision.
Well, you say you have the power to bring him back, though. Your attorney general says, quote, that's up to El Salvador. Just to put a fine point on this, do you have the power to bring Abrego Garcia back as the Supreme Court?
Well, I have the power to ask for...
Whoa. See how she slid that in there? As the Supreme Court ordered. No, they didn't. No, she tried to slide that in. Trump's not going for it anyway. But you notice how, she's talking to an audience that's not President Trump. She goes, do you have the power as the Supreme Court ordered? No, they didn't order that. Not at all. You lied.
To come back if I'm instructed by the Attorney General that it's legal to do so. But the decision as to whether or not he should come back will be the head of El Salvador. He's a very capable man.
Well, and your attorney general has said the issue is with that word facilitate. Will you seek clarification from the Supreme Court? Do you need to go back to the Supreme Court?
We may do that. I was asking about that. We may do that.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says...
I don't know. It seems...
Aha. So you've seen this around a lot today, probably, where people are freaking out because you said, I don't know. And she follows it up with the Fifth Amendment. Not sure if she realizes what that Fifth Amendment actually is. You see, that was for Americans. If you look back to our forefathers when they wrote this, and then when the Fifth Amendment came in, it was for Americans. You have to have it in context. It just doesn't apply, like I think there's a line in it that says it's for any person. Well, when they wrote it, any person meant Americans. And now you're trying to conflate things and say, well, they get to stay too. They're a person. No. You got to frame it. They're talking about Americans.
It might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth, some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
Is anyone in your administration right now in contact with El Salvador about...
I cut that because I'm like, enough about El Salvador. I am done. What is wrong with you people? It's insane. What is this guy? Who owes him money or that? He beats his wife. He smuggles people, and all these people in the media keep talking about this dude's Garcia. It makes absolutely no sense. Tilly had a question, and Tilly always says, I never, but I happened to see it. I saw this. I don't know what the prior question was, but I understand that she was asking about Rumble. Tilly, Rumble is free, and you can use it online, or you can, I'm sure they have an app as well, but it's easier if you just want to use it online. But hi, Tilly. See, you don't have to pay to get something recognized. Just wanted to say that quickly. All right, so let's continue. By the way, yeah, Rumble tonight. Well, actually here tonight, but then I do the jump over sometime during the show. But let's continue.
I will say this. I think we're going to have an economy the likes of which we've never had before. You know, my 4 years were phenomenal, as you know, the stock market. In fact, even though we had to go through the COVID thing, that horrible situation with COVID, we did numbers, and when I gave it over, when I handed it over, the election was rigged, and because of that, we have a lot of problems, by the way. But when I handed it over,
now this section of the interview right here, they didn't put on television. They cut it. I had to go find it and bring it in because they don't even still 2025. They still don't want this even discussed. They don't want people to know that there were any problems. It's just crazy.
What happened? The market was higher than it was previous to COVID coming in. Yeah. Nobody could believe it. The stock market I'm talking about.
I don't want to look back, but you did take your case to court about that. You took your case to court about your allegations against the election. Let me ask you,
There's no question about it. The election was rigged. The facts are in, and it's still being litigated. Let's go.
You did take your case to court more than 60 times and didn't win those cases.
I won a lot of court cases.
Just to button that up, though, sir. Just to button that up.
What are you talking about?
How
the election?
Worried are you?
Are we talking about the election?
Let's talk about here and now. Let's talk about
the
here and
election
now.
of 2020.
Let's not talk about. Let's talk about here and now. Are you worried about a recession?
She didn't even want him talking about it. Again, where there's smoke, there's fire. You're going to talk about this Maryland man until, he's blue in the face. You're going to keep beating that dead horse, but you don't want to talk about this election from 2020. And Trump gave her a little bit of information, it's still, in fact, what the words were, it's still being litigated. How many of you guys knew that it was still being litigated? How many of us knew that they were still doing something legally about 2020? And she didn't even want to talk about it. He goes, you talking about the election? You talking about the election? No, I just want to move on. And they took this entire segment out of the broadcast.
No.
Okay.
No other president, they say, with the possible exception of George Washington, and they haven't been able to find those records. And we've had wealthy presidents before, but no other president has contributed the salary. And they told me before this that you will probably be asking me whether or not I'm going to contribute my salary again, but you haven't asked that.
Are you going to?
Yes.
You are? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I appreciate we just made news there.
Well, we just made news there. we got some news. You're going to donate your salary. Hey, honey, he did that last time too. He doesn't need the $400,000. What are you, a moron? Oh my gosh. I think, I don't know how these people got their jobs. I don't know what they did to get there, but you don't need to have any sort of journalistic integrity or knowledge. In fact, at this point, she probably doesn't even write. She's probably just a talking head. So, yeah, ladies, you look a little, you look good and you got some makeup and some decent. You probably can get a job as a journalist. Wow.
Mr. President, should lawful residents of this country start carrying paperwork with them when they leave their homes?
I don't think that'll be necessary, but
I felt this was the stupidest question in the interview. Should legal people here in the United States start carrying their paperwork? She actually asked this question. And I salute President Trump, because I would have just looked at her and like, what are you, stupid? I mean, seriously, are you really asking me you're going to have to show your papers walking down the street?
what you're not saying is that many people have been killed, maimed, badly hurt by illegal immigrants that came over that are from prisons and from jails and from mental institutions, and they're hurting our people. And if we don't get them out, we're not going to have a country for long. We need honest, we need honest media, and we need walls. We need to have borders. And by the way, I built a lot of walls, and if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be able to have those. You know, we would not be able to have the kind of numbers if I wasn't successful in building hundreds of miles of wall.
She don't want to talk about that either. Whoa, that's thunder. It thundered yesterday at the air show, and it rained its butt off, so I'm going to have to get through this before something blinks off here, because I have no control over that. But anyway, she didn't want to talk about that either. They have a very narrow focus, and it's meant to, you know, talk about things that she hopes she can do a gotcha. And he handled this very well. I mean, he shadowboxed it. She got nothing on him, except for the thing where they tried to blow it up today about the whole due process. Oh, he doesn't want due process. And the other thing about the toys. Crazy.
Do you see dissent as an essential part of democracy?
It's a part of democracy. It is.
Is it an important part of democracy?
Yeah, you're always going to have, Kristen, you're always going to have dissent. There's nothing you're going to do about that. Am I going to get 100% unified? It would be a strange place. I can't even imagine it where 100%. Look, you have people that are good people. Mm-hmm. They're very smart people. And they honestly believe we should have open borders and the entire world should be allowed to pour into our country. I think it's a 95-5 issue, but they believe it. They're not even bad people. Some of them are bad. You have people that honestly believe that men should be allowed to play in women's sports. Some of these people, I don't know any. I haven't been able to find any, but they exist. They say it's an 80-20 issue. I don't believe that. I think it's a 97-3 issue.
Do you think people should have the right to criticize you without fear of reprisal?
Absolutely, yeah, I do. That I do.
I don't know what she was getting at. I would have loved to have known when she was sitting down in her production meeting, let's ask this question. If he thinks people who criticize him, he should go after. Like, what? What? We all get criticized. There's trolls in the chat. What in the hell are you talking about? It makes no sense sometimes, these questions these people ask. And again, you have the President of the United States sitting in front of you, and this is what you ask.
And how do you square that?
I think that happens.
How do you square that with the fact that you have passed these executive orders asking the Attorney General to look into some of the people who've criticized you, who've been harshest against you?
I have been investigated more than any person in the history of the United States of America. I've been investigated more than the late, great, as I say at my rallies, Alphonse Capone. Alphonse Capone was a nasty man. He was the highest level gangster. And I have been investigated more than Al Capone, more than anybody. These people are evil people, and I won. And I'll tell you what, all I want to happen is for the Department of Justice and the FBI. Pam is great and Cash is great. I think they're two great people, but they're their own people. They want to do a fantastic job. And all I want to do and all I want to ask for is that they be allowed to do their job. I'm not telling them to do anything, and I believe I have the right to do it. I'm, in theory, the top law enforcement officer as the president. We went over this once before, and it turned out I was right. But I'm not looking to use that. We have two great people, and we have many, many incredible people under them, and I just want them to do their job and do it well.
Long story short, he's coming for you. Long story short, as you hear him, and I know people have had problems with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and even Dan Bongino. They got a whole lot of stuff to worry about. I was going to talk about it tonight, but Elon Musk said in an interview with, I believe, Laura Trump, that there are 100,000 government employees who are actively working and receiving unemployment checks. 100,000. Every single one of those people are committing fraud. Trump could have 10 Pam Bondis, and he couldn't go through all of the crimes that have been committed against America. So I understand she's probably overwhelmed because they're like, I cannot even imagine what they have been uncovering. It's got to be stupendous. And every day, Elon and the guys from Doge are like, oh, by the way, here you go with some more. And here you go some more. It's got to be so much. Wow.
I guess you're talking about this transition cost. How long should people expect that transition to last, Mr. President?
I can't tell you that. I can tell you that we're making a lot of money. We're doing great. Again, we're losing more than $5 billion a day. $5 billion a day. You don't talk about that. And right now, we're going to be at a point very soon where we're making money every day. Look,
how soon?
We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars with China. Now we're essentially not doing business with China. Therefore, we're saving hundreds of billions of dollars. Very simple.
You take me to my next question, which is...
You can't speak economics to people who don't understand economics. They're talking emotion. Numbers are hard. Numbers are direct. Numbers don't lie. I don't need your emotion. Here's the fact. This is what we were losing. Now we're not losing that anymore, and now we're moving into the black, and numbers are going to begin accumulating. You can't argue with that. The Democrats, for some reason, have a problem that things with China have been prohibited. They just want to keep the China thing going. And she's not even pausing to hear what he just said. Listen, you got to focus on these numbers right here. They're right in front of you. You watching, you got to concentrate on numbers, not feelings, not fear. You're never going to understand what's going on if you listen to the press the way she's asking these questions, because she doesn't want to know the answers. And that's probably one of the problems that people are having with coworkers and family members and things of that nature, is because the people you're speaking to, A, don't understand it, B, don't want the answers. Trump's the bad guy and everything sucks. But can I explain to you what's going on? Can I break it down? No. I don't want to. And that's the problem.
What happens if it comes to your desk, has the tax cuts, but also cuts to Medicaid? Would you veto that?
Well, we're not doing that. No.
How many times? Again, this is a high-level reporter at one of the networks. They have been told over and over and over, nothing with Medicaid, nothing with Medicare, not going to happen. But again, let me ask it again.
You try that?
I would if they were cutting it, but they're not cutting it. They're looking at fraud, waste, and abuse, and nobody minds that. If illegal immigrants are in the mix, if the people that aren't supposed to be there, people that are non-citizens are in the mix, nobody minds that. Waste, fraud, and abuse. But we're not cutting Medicaid, we're not cutting Medicare, and we're not cutting Social Security. We're doing great on illegal immigration. We are being hit hard by judges that I think they're trying to take away the power of the presidency. I was elected in a massive landslide in a big vote. We won the swing states. We won the popular vote. We won the district votes by tremendous numbers. We won everything. And one of the primary reasons I was elected was to get people out of our country that were allowed. We have prisoners. We have.
You see, I wanted to play that again because not enough people are understanding. He won, as they say, a landslide. He won the swing states. He's doing what he told the people he was going to do. Those of you who voted for him, myself, this is what we voted for. These people seem shocked. They don't understand. Yeah, we watched the rallies. This is specifically what we wanted. It's not something that just appeared like, oh my God, I can't believe he's deporting people. Well, he said he was going to deport people. I can't believe he's going to try to decouple from China. He said it. Were you not listening? See, I think that's the problem. They thought Kamala was in the bag and they would never have to deal with it. It was all going to be, part of this big thing. And they got screwed in their mind and they can't get over it. And I don't care. At this point, you either get on board or get out of the way. I don't have the time to convince you or engage you. We're 100 days in. If you don't see what's happening and you don't understand that this is exactly what we voted for, this is exactly the outcome. The only problem we're having is we want more. We want more. That scares them. Every time I play this, I think how much it must scare people that we say things like this.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Yeah, they don't understand that. That little 12-second, 20-second clip, they don't understand. We got the bib on. Please keep feeding us. We want as much of this you can. Get as many of these people out of here as possible. Decouple from China. We heard what you said you were going to do. And of course, people are waiting on the Epstein and Diddy and all that kind of stuff too. But keep doing. Keep doing what you're doing, especially pissing these people off. Love it. Gotta love it. Absolutely gotta love it. I'm just gonna keep it up. Keep it up. All right, everybody. There is, as you may know, if you have any sort of stuff with your gut, there's a war happening right now, and it's probably not where you think. It's in your gut. A battle between good and bad bacteria can determine your health. Kimchi One from Brightcore Nutrition is a fermented superfood your body needs to arm the good guys with the right weapons to defeat the bad actors once and for all. Containing over 900 strains of beneficial bacteria in each capsule, Kimchi One supports healthy digestion, fortifies your immune system, and helps detoxify your body. Kimchi has also been shown to reduce the risk of obesity and promote smaller waistlines by curbing appetite and naturally boosting your metabolism. And it works. Today, you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link below. Just use code BARRY for 25% off your entire order. But if you guys had seen my interview with Kim Bright from Brightcore, you can get an even better deal because they like to talk and educate you. So, what you need to do, you can get 50% off of your order and free shipping by giving them a call directly at 888-418-6738. And I will just continue because I was talking to Robin last night when I interviewed Kim. One of the things that really struck me, and to this day I still remember it, and she says, you want to be better? Even if you don't want to buy a supplement, you want to be better, just shop the perimeter of a grocery store. Just come in, go to the meat, go to the dairy, go to the produce, and that's all you need to do. I was like, that's some good stuff there. And that's what we've been doing. Robin is basically at this point just going around into the different places to get better fresh stuff. Is it more expensive? Yeah, but we're worth it. You're worth it. Let me be the first person to tell you that, by the way. And this isn't a commercial. You are worth better stuff. Let that sink in what I'm saying. I don't care if you have to pay more for something. You deserve it. If you have to pay more for a t-shirt, if you have to pay more for groceries because you can't buy the crap, you deserve it. I don't mean that in a bad way. You have earned the right to be treated better. And I hope you guys really grasp that for yourselves and go, you know what? I deserve to eat well. I shouldn't have to eat crap. That's you. Let me be the first person to tell you that today, because I'm proud of you and you deserve more. And that has nothing to do with commercial. That's just me talking to you. All right, so what I want to do here is talk to you about Patriot Addict real quick, and then I'll take some comments. Let's see, we're going to talk about the Berry Pack, and I'm going to basically get my stuff together here and show it to you. Oh, I know what I got to do. I always forget. I always forget to do this. My boy, man, he made a great video about the knife. Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Fanfare family. I'm B. Michael Nace, one of the members of Barry Cunningham's channel. One of the things Barry advertises on his channel is the Trump knife. But Barry doesn't really do it so much justice because Barry apparently is not the knife guy that I am. I've got thousands of knives around my house. But this knife is really awesome. Go and check this out. This is a power-assisted folding knife with a liner lock. A glass breaker at the tip. The liner lock in the middle. So it won't close on you until you push the liner lock in the middle. Push it and it will fold. This knife is actually quite awesome. And I'm a knife collector. I've been collecting knives for 30 years. This is an amazing knife. And you can get it BarryKnife.com, Barry Cunningham. He can tell you how to get it. I want you to push it to his channel, fanfare.com. This knife is amazing. It's sharp. It's heavy duty. As a matter of fact, it's almost too heavy to carry in a pocket. You'd have to put it on your belt or whatever, but it's a heavy duty knife and it's really nice. So Barry, to you, one of your family members, B. Michael Nace from Fanfare, amazing knife.
You know, he's really good about this knife, and yeah, he's right. I'm not a knife guy because I'm just afraid if I hit this thing the wrong way, it's going to end up dropping it and stabbing myself in the leg or something, looking like Talladega Nights, looking like Ricky Bobby with the knife in his leg or something. Any event, this is the Trump Red knife. So I want you guys to know something. Patriot Addict is back with a brand new Trump collector's bundle for you called the Berry Pack. The Berry Pack is the ultimate Trump collection featuring the Trump sequel hat. Where's my Trump sequel hat? Oh, by the way, I wore this all weekend and nobody gave me any problems whatsoever. I was expecting some people to give me a hard time, but I guess being around a bunch of military supporters, everybody who saw it was like, no big deal. He's got the Trump hat on. Yes, I had this one. Rob was like, why didn't you let me know? I would have worn one of the red ones, but I forgot to tell her. But you get the Trump sequel hat. You get the Trump watch, which I'm about to go over to our P.O. box and pick up. You get the beautiful Trump blanket. Where is that? Let me bring this up. I can show it to you, because this thing is pretty cool. Where is it? I want to show you where it says Donald Trump on it. Okay. This is the Trump blanket. It's huge. It's huge. It's warm. People in the chat will tell you This is a good size blanket that will keep you warm. You get that. Okay, so let's recap. You get the Trump red knife. All right, you get the knife. You get the hat right here, you can see. And you get the blanket. And you get the Trump watch. All four of these things. All four. They're free, basically. The Berry Pack order has no shipping charges, no hidden fees on the knife or any other items. All four of these items bought separately would be normally cost $238, but they're practically giving it away for free to Fanfare fans for just $69. And just beware, prices have already gone up once. They were $59, they're $69 for now. So I strongly recommend you take action now. They've set aside just about 500 Berry Packs, and they're already down to the last few, and I can't guarantee this collection will be available again. So scan the QR code right now, or you can visit berrypack.com to claim yours before they disappear forever. All right, again, that's berrypack.com, or scan the QR code. Let me get that off the screen. Boom. All right. So we're almost done here. I'm going to do the normal after party. I'm getting ready to put that on so you guys can see that. I love your questions for, oh wow, you just like the Iron Maiden. I love my, oh, somebody goes, it's buttery soft. Oh, where was that? It was, oh, it's buttery soft, Angie says. Unpaid testimonial. Love it, love it, love it. So here's what we're going to do. It's 4:30. I'm going to go get ready for the 7 o'clock show, see what else is going on, put that together, and just to give you a heads up of what's happening nowadays. I do this thing called the Rumble Jump Over. I'm going to do regular show, and then about halfway through, I'm going to jump, and it's only going to be on Rumble. It will disconnect from YouTube and X and only be on Rumble. That's the partnership deal I have with them. And so the good part about it is, and some of the people in here in the chat can tell you, it was awesome. I mean, people were, they're like, I've never seen a podcast like this. Well, today it's going to be even better. I've had some time to think over the last couple of days. We're going to kill it tonight. Absolutely kill it. So make sure, if you don't know what we did on Saturdays, maybe some people in the chat can tell you, but you need to tune in, and we're going to have the regular show here on YouTube, and then about 3/4 of the way through, we'll jump. Now, I've been waiting. I might not be able to get him on until tomorrow, but what I'm hoping to have on here, let me see if he responded to me yet. Hold on. Let me see if he came back to me yet. I'm hoping to see, wait a minute, did he tell me? No, I haven't heard back. So I'm trying to get Veteran Biker on, but I can't, he hasn't confirmed yet tonight. If he comes on, it's great. He did say where he's working, Secretary Collins is supposed to be there today, so he may not be able to make it, but I got to talk to him about what happened with that China terrorist video. We're going to play that. We're going to talk about the China terrorist video tonight too, plus a bunch of other stuff. So be sure to join me at 7:30, and we'll just have a whole bunch of fun. Ask people what happened last time. You ain't seen nothing like it. Talk to you at 7:30. Oops! Before SB even hit me up, because I was waiting for SB to go, wait, but he didn't have to. Almost forgot to acknowledge the super chats. That would have been my bad. Hit that button too quick. That's because I got to go to the bathroom and I'm hungry, both at the same time. All right, so let me get in here and talk to you fine people about this. 1 second. Hold on. Okay, and where is this window? Where's the window I use all the time? That would be the True Social window. There we go. All right, so this is everybody. Yeah, here we go. Job for 9. Thank you for a fantastic time on the after show on Rumble. You were here Saturday. Here's my song suggestion. Monster Truck, Don't Tell Me How to Live. I'll work on that because I think I already got tonight's, but you'll see. And those of you who don't know what he's talking about, yeah, you might want to be here. Hey, Barry, great job as usual. Hey, Mark Hurley just got back from D.C. toured the White House last Friday. It was amazing. Highly recommended for all. Thanks again for the great work. Thank you, Mark. Fazul, work more hours like the rest of did to pay loans, buy food, and keep the lights on. Peter Ortiz, why did you break the camera? You were grounded. I hit the wrong button and then had to undo it, but I traced it back pretty quick. Tamara, Barry, I emailed you. Please check me out for the opportunity. Thank you very much. Peter Ortiz, bananas are good for your heart. Yes. Donna, disabled low income needs Section 8 as it pays nearly half the rent, allowing them to live in a decent place, not the slums. Your key word there is disabled. Born on the 4th, I don't understand if the U.S. is no longer burdened by tariffs, how would buying American be that much higher in cost? People aren't explaining that to people. Mega Man, most journalists are actually editorialists. Journalists report the truth. Editorialists tell stories. Bingo, bingo. Peter Ortiz, did Obama allow the 5 million he deported court time? Nope. No, he didn't. Jeanette, why can't a podcaster be on the plane? These journalists are a joke. Oh, I would just, if I ever got to go on Air Force One, it would be all over. Larry, 1754. My girlfriend was born and raised in Czechoslovakia, communist rule. There were no homeless people, no beggars on sidewalks. All had a place to stay. All ate. None went hungry. Buddy Sanders. Remember when the Chinese toys were recalled because of poisonous paint that chipped off? Oh, yeah, I remember. Tilly, how do I get on Rumble? It's an app, or you can just go online. Don't miss tonight. Donald Donovan, please ask Congressman Wesley Hunt when Congress is going to start codifying President Trump's EOs into law. Let me go ahead and copy that so I have that. Okay. Hey, Tilly, you must have saw my mention. Thank you. Welcome. Odell J. Is it required by law for all Americans to carry identification? She should know that. Dude, you're going to have to get a applause for that one. That's right. You know what happens if you walk around without identification? You are considered a vagrant. MP, want to save the country? Declared bankrupt. Simple Finance 101. Camille Waltman, thank you. Penny McCorder, she says Trump's going after those that criticize him. Is she joking? I wish she was. They literally went after him in every illegal and traitorous way they could. Indeed. Cliff Leibowitz, do you think we will ever hear about the kids in the Obama White House or Clinton Foundation? Unfortunately, I think those are further down the list, but I think we can get to them. Sue Rabin, question I asked Grok, can Congress tell the president what to do? Yes, SCOTUS can tell the president what to do. Yes, they can tell SCOTUS or Congress what to do. No, how is this co-equal? Because they have no way to enforce it. BLS Doom Crew, still haven't received my mystery box. It's been over a month. Do me a favor, send me an email with your real name so I can have them trace it. Because BLS Doom Crew ain't gonna make it. Brian Newland, request for tonight, Queensryche Revolution Call, and listen to the words from 1988. I played that in one video a couple months ago. BLS Doom Crew, I almost tried sending you a DM on X, no response. That ain't gonna work, because if I don't know who you are, I'm probably not gonna respond. So I'm looking at my DMs and let me see if I see you here. I don't see you anywhere. So it would be best to email me. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. I see you down there. All right. It hasn't been accepted yet. A day ago. Okay. I'll get a hold of you and tell you how to send me an email. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. And we'll see you at 7:30 tonight. And